All right. I'm going to stream this just because every time we play a game, at the end of it, we always say, why didn't we record that or stream that? It was so good. So we're going to put it up here just in case, even though it's an unscheduled 9:30 at night stream in the East Coast area or Michigan area. We'll let Graybeard get his up. We've got 3 players tonight that decided to play. So welcome to some Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition with some characters that are already started a little bit. These guys are going to play some 3rd level characters, which I thought would be fun. It looks like they chose some very interesting, very eclectic sort of characters, which will be cool also. And so let's dive right in. So I'm Sir Lucian. If you're on the channel watching this, you probably already know that. If not, welcome. We do games on Mondays and Thursdays, and games like this where we do one-shots on Saturdays and Sundays, and whenever I can con people into come and play Dungeons & Dragons with me, and other games. We played Numenera and Star Trek. I watched another Orville episode, so I'm dying to do another Star Trek one at some point too.
Nice.
I think it's good.
Tavern Sparrow's been sick all week, so we have watched nothing. And so we should have spent last night watching shows and tonight watching shows, but it's just not happening. So, well, we ended up watching the rest of Stranger Things season 2 last night. So,
finished it up.
Priorities, man.
Also on Netflix, for those of you that are watched Stranger Things, they also have a Beyond Stranger Things. So they do an after show where they talk to the writers and the directors and a lot of the characters in the show, and they talk. There's some cool information they talk about in there. So check that out if you haven't checked that out. But we're here to play some Dungeons and Dragons. So let's set the stage a little bit. You, our wonderful adventurers, have just completed a adventure excursion to a tomb. You went into this tomb. You had gotten some information about it. You're a group of adventurers that kind of came together when you kind of found out some information. You put together this group, one of you did, and you went out on this adventure. You went down into this tomb, and you explored it. It was something that had been not uncovered in a long time. You were the first ones there. And so you battled your way through craziness and maybe barely made it out. And you're successful. You're triumphant. All 3 of you survived. Or we could even say maybe there was 4 of you and 1 did not make it back out. Might be fun for the adventure tonight. Maybe 1 was lost in the tomb. But you guys would kind of be able to come up with a little bit of that. And our story for tonight picks up. You are heading back from the tomb. You've just exited the tomb. You've had a long rest and you're on the road. And you guys have been stationed out of Waterdeep. But this tomb that you had uncovered, this information about this tomb had forced you to travel up near the Tribor area. And in fact, you've exited this tomb. You've gotten back down out of the wilderness of wherever this was hidden and had been lost to time and antiquity. You're back on the road. You're heading back, and you're actually coming up to Tribor on your way back. And you would come through Tribor on your way up, and now you're kind of heading back down on your way home to Waterdeep. And that's where we're going to start our adventure. So we have the 3 of you walking along the road. You're just now entering Tribor. And the last time you were in Tribor, so let's go ahead and move you guys over. And we'll make tokens and stuff for you as we go. I've got you guys' pictures, and I'll whip them up as we get going. But let's move people over to Tribor. You guys might recognize this map.
Looks just slightly familiar.
And you're suddenly attacked by
Exactly.
fire giants.
I was gonna
Haha,
say.
you're playing Storm King's Thunder.
PTSD. No, not this again.
And even to make it even more fun, let's say that the last time you came through, you guys had stopped at the Tribor Arms, which was the, like an inn that you had stopped at before. And maybe your plan was on your way down, you're getting into Tribor, and maybe you're going to stop in there for a drink after the successful excursion into this tomb. And so we have this scene, and we're going to talk about what the characters are and who they are in just a second. We're getting there. I realize if you're watching this, you're wondering, who are these characters? But for now, maybe they're just cloaked figures walking down the road. We've got a really long camera shot that doesn't really come into any details. It's more just like 3 humanoidish shape figures trundling down the road. It's bright out. It's probably around noon, and you guys are probably still just north of town. You could start to see maybe some of the rooftops, but you're up here on the long road. You're north of it, and you're still getting pretty close to Tribor. So let's start with something real quick. Let's do a perception check for each of our 3 characters as you're walking south along the long road heading into Tribor. Okay. Starting out awesome. I'm loving it.
I just failed the perception check. I don't even need to roll.
It's so bad you're just like, yeah, you're not even gonna roll
Yes.
it. All right, so
-2.
yeah, so you guys are kind of walking by, and some things fly by you and some things go by, but you're not even really concerned. Like maybe you're still all thinking back immediately to the tomb you've just come out of, because this has been a real life experience for you guys as far as this adventure you've just went on. It's like it was your first adventure. You've lost a comrade at some point, but you were able to explore the tomb, reap all of the rewards and riches, and you're on your way back. And maybe you're so everybody's kind of thinking about the stuff that they got out of there, or maybe the lost comrade, if that's weighing on your conscience, if that's the type of character you are. Maybe those are the reasons why you don't necessarily. You see some animals kind of, out and around, but everybody rolled low enough that you don't see too much out of the ordinary. And so you head into Tribor, and everything looks to be normal. You see merchants on carts and stuff coming in and out. So some people are heading into Tribor. It looks like they're carriages and caravans that are moving through. You see people at different houses, maybe some farmers in the fields. It all looks exactly like the last time you were here. And you guys probably spent, we'll say that while you were at this tomb, it was probably about 3 days of you being underground, exploring, finding all the nooks and crannies of this place, fighting for your lives, being on this great first adventure, and you finally come back out. But everything looks the same way it did about 3 or 4 days ago when you came through Tribor the first time, as you had left Waterdeep. You're feeling pretty triumphant, tinged with the loss of comrade. Although, you've all come together for this first adventure, so you may not know each other very well quite yet. Maybe this was the first time you got to start to know each other as we went. And so we'll have you guys just kind of cruise down the road here, and you're seeing the normal hustle and bustle of a crossroads town out in the Forgotten Realms here, out in Faerun. And you see the Tribor Arms, and you feel like, hey, this would be a great time to just stop in, get a drink. It's only midday, so you could figure, as the group maybe goes in, maybe you can get a drink, and you can make your decision if you want to stay here or if you want to just keep on going after you've refreshed yourself for your journey back to Waterdeep. So you go into the Tribor Inn. You open the door, and it's got its midday. It has maybe just a couple of other travelers in here. You maybe see some caravan guards sitting at a table. Probably a few farmers that are in here. Maybe they've come in for lunch, or they like to come and get a drink or two, before they head back out to the fields. Everything smells of horse. Tribors is a big area for horse ranches and horse trading and selling and those kinds of things. So there's a real heavy equine kind of aroma on everything. And so you see a couple empty tables. You see some areas at the bar. Several look as the door opens as you guys come in. But you are recognized by our bartender, because the last time you came through, you had met our bartender. You know what I should have done? The one thing I didn't do is I didn't grab... Let me jump over to Storm King's Thunder just a second, because I want to grab the Tribor notes so I have the names and everything right. So give me a second. Let me exit this game just a moment.
No,
Exit
don't
game.
leave
I'll
us.
be right back. I don't think it'll matter if people see that. Storm King's Thunder, join game. I think it's all okay if they can see that stuff.
So I randomly generated a companion for us on OrcPub's random character generator. And she was a female halfling sorcerer. Her name was Lafa Relector Lore. I'll post it right here. There.
Yeah. Good. We're going to get into that, so I'll save that a second. That'll be good. Give me a second. Storm King's Thunder takes some time to open up because there's so many maps and so many cool stuff in it. But what I really want is...
Incineration. I think that's how she died. That's why we left her behind, because there was no body to recover.
She was a folk hero,
Yes.
and her 17 dex, 13 intelligence, 12 wisdom, 14 charisma.
The flame trap was meant to take people out at their knees, but because she was a halfling, she was shorter, right in the head.
Right in the
It's
head.
terrible. Terrible.
Ooh, I agree.
Devastating.
And of course, she was a sorcerer, so she had guff for equipment.
Yep.
So you lost your sorcerer. It's a shame. You're going to need her.
She'd come in handy in the attic.
I don't know how to save this, though. That's the sad part.
Well, type it in, and it's saved. All right, I think I got what I need now. Let's exit Storm King's Thunder. We will see you on Monday.
Do a screenshot and post it to Discord.
I don't have a program that'll do a screenshot, so unless it's supported... There it is. Export PDF. What? Snap. There. Oh, awesome. Okay. How do I do this now? I don't know what I'm doing. This. Yeah. Heck yeah.
All right, jumping back in. All right, and we want number...
All right, and hopefully I can just drag and drop.
Yeah, you remember that you had met the proprietor named Nemeth, who was a tiefling. He owns the business, and it's definitely a popular hangout for rangers and scouts and those who are wilderness guides and caravan guards and stuff like that. So this is a place you came in before. So he recognizes you come in. So maybe some of the people turn their heads to this interesting trio that come in, and you get a smile from Nemeth. And then as you guys kind of walk in, he's waving you in, and he's waiting to see if you guys are going to take a table, or if you're going to go up to the bar. Where would you guys go to sit to take a refreshment?
I go right up to the bar.
Okay, yeah, there's several seats at the bar if that's where you guys want to sit. That'd work too. Is that where everybody goes?
I take a position next to. Spam me. What's your character's name?
Delmock.
All right. I clank up to where Delmock is and stand next to him.
Okay.
And I'll flank him on the other side.
Awesome. Yeah, so Nemeth sees you, and then you see him kind of looking towards the door as if he's looking around, and he's noticing that your fourth member's not showing up, and he maybe has a little sadness comes in, and he says, "Oh, you were so excited when you left several days ago, but where is your companion? I do not see her."
I failed to protect Lafa. He just says, cold like that.
Yeah, good. And he gives you a look, and he's like, "Oh, that's terrible. I tell you what, first round of drinks on the house." And he reaches back, and he starts pouring some ale for you guys, and maybe he even puts a third one out, not knowing whether or not Moab here would drink it or not. Does he know you as Crankston? Is that the name you give to people when you would have?
No.
Before?
People have called me Crankston when I was part of like a city watch and a unit of protectors, but I always refer to myself as Moab.
Okay, and is that what the group calls you too?
That's up to them. They know that I'm called Crankston, or was, and that's, I guess they can take their choice. But I refer to myself as Moab.
Okay, yeah. So he says Moab because that's how you would have introduced yourself the last time you were here. So he even puts out a mug for Moab, not knowing if Moab would drink ale or not, and he puts one in front of Delmock, and he puts one. How are we going to pronounce yours, Brian? Is that Ohoxie? Ohoxie?
Oh, sure. Assign the name and then make me figure out how to pronounce it. Hoxie.
Hoxie. All right.
Hoxie.
When you guys get a chance, put it in on your character, like, on the screen for me, please.
He just goes as Lou.
Okay, yeah, there you go. And yeah, you guys could have nicknames and stuff. So we see Delmock Muln. Is that what everybody kind of calls you? Do you have a nickname that they call you, Delmock?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. So everybody's just been referring to you as Delmock then at that point. Okay. So they sit you down, and he has some ales in front of you. And he says, I don't want to dredge up obviously wounded memories, but I've got to know what happened. And he looks at Delmock first, and he's kind of waiting to say, he says to you, Delmock, what happened on your adventure? And this is like you can kind of make up a little bit of what happened in the tomb, like what you think Delmock might tell him of what happened in this tomb. It's definitely, just think of it as a regular adventure where you guys went in and you fought stuff and you got stuff, and maybe you sprung some traps, you survived some traps, just the whole gambit. And you can just kind of put in a little bit of stuff here or there. You don't have to tell the whole story, but just a little tidbit here to our proprietor of the Tribor Arms.
I liked what Ardris said.
I think I missed part of that. I heard roasted, but I don't know if I caught anything else.
It's a flame trap that had been set to take out people entering into the tomb at the knees to cause them severe pain before they died. But unfortunately, as a halfling, it was right about shoulder head height, and the damage was terrible, and the death was unfortunately not as sudden as it could have been.
Oh yeah. So you see Nemeth kind of do that shiver as he imagines that scene in his head, and he says, adventuring is so dangerous, but so many flock to the call. I'm truly sorry that you have lost your companion, and hopefully, you will be able to have a service for her at some point, or at least tell her family and members that maybe she died doing what she wanted to do, or maybe it wasn't as bad, or and he's kind of like, I hope you don't tell them that same story that you told me, because that'll probably horrify them and give them nightmares. And so he places in front of you, and he says, well, would any of you like food? I feel terrible. You've lost a comrade. The least Tribor Arms could do is give you drink and food. If you would like food, I can definitely, I'll have the kitchen bring out some food for you to take your lunch while you're here.
Moab's always like polite and respectful, so he takes the mug, but he like only pretends to drink, and then at some point he'll like switch Delmoc's empty mug with his full
that's
mug.
what I was going to say.
and then the same thing with like the food. He doesn't pretend to eat it, but he gets it and he sets it there so that at some point I'm sure Delmoc will eat his portion of food too.
Yeah.
So
let's get into our characters a little bit here. Let's find out who we really have and who we're playing. We've heard a little bit of this. So let's start with Uoxi here. When Nemeth is looking at you, kind of flashback us to when you first entered Tribor, almost like you're having a dream of 3 or 4 days past when you first entered and you first talked to Nemeth for the very first time. You met this tiefling. What did he see when he was looking at you and you had met him? Give us a description of your physicalness.
Sure. So Nemeth sees a man with dark hair and darker olive skin, about 6 foot, kind of nondescript, so almost like somebody that he's seen before, but he can't quite place him. And so this automatically warms him to others as they talk to one another. He's wearing greens and browns and other colors that kind of help him to blend into the wilderness. Light on his feet, not talkative, but not quiet either. So seems to be everyone but no one.
Nice. And yeah, it's not how human or what race are you portraying when you come in, or what's your normal walking around look?
Yeah, so he is human, and one could confuse him with somebody that maybe had lived in the immediate area around Tribor. So he looks much like the other people that live in this area.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's an interesting thing for us to see. And do your party members know that you're not exactly what you appear to be?
They don't know that I'm a changeling.
So in the adventure, you were able to still hide that fact from them, and you have not sprung this idea on them that you are not, you to them appear human.
Correct.
Right,
and
awesome.
I actually tell them I'm from a farm off to the east of town, further out from Broken Yoke Ranch.
Oh, cool. So let's do a roll for our characters when he has said that on insight. So when you had learned of this, let's see how well you believed him.
I just take what he says at face value.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Moab, you realize that he has probably told you a falsehood, and you can decide that how you want to take that, and you can decide what your character's idea would be. Where does your mind go on that? Are you the type that you think, oh, I would ask about that because I feel like he's saying something to me? Or would you be more like, he's probably got a good reason, so I'm not going to ask? Or how did your character kind of react to knowing that?
To be polite, he just accepts it in all all forms of, communications and whatnot.
Yeah.
But secretly, he's like, there's an edge of, I can't trust this guy. I have to protect him, but how can I trust him to, help protect the rest of us, kind of thing. So there's a little bit of mistrust there.
Okay.
But remember, I got like a 6 intelligence, so I may just blurt it out at some point, not realizing. But I'm wise enough to know, but dumb enough not to keep up the lie, I guess.
Nice. I like it. Okay. All right. So we've got a pretty good description of that. Now, during one of the fights, Ohaxi, what did you end up? What was something you fought that all of you fought in the tomb? And what about your class made you stand out that the others realized you had some of these abilities of the class you're playing? What was it about that? What were some of the things what did you fight? What did your group fight? You can make it up. And what were some of the skills that really kind of shine to show what type of class you are?
Sure. At one point, we had actually fallen through part of the cave. The floor gave way, and we fell into a room that had 4 kobolds there. And when we came to the floor, I was the closest to all of them, but amazingly was able to extricate myself from away from them. And so I was able to get away without them swinging back. And my first action after that was to loose 2 arrows into one of the kobolds, dropping him to the ground.
Nice. All right, cool. So we get a little bit of how, as you kind of remember that, so we're having a few of these flashbacks in our heads as you guys are mulling over your food and your drink, and some of this stuff is coming back to you as you recount the days in your head. And you got through that fight, but in a different area of the tomb is where you picked up, and you have now sitting on your belt a +1 dagger, which you can go ahead and add to your item list. And you can describe what this +1 dagger kind of looks like. What does it look like? Go ahead and just give us something cool. And you're still marveling over it. Like, you know what it is. You know that it's magical. You know that it's, extra sharp, probably is the way to describe something that's just a +1 kind of thing. But you can embellish the way that this thing looks any way you want. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. And so, unlike a traditional dagger, this one's a little bit larger, and it's meant for slashing and tearing and in close fighting, so it's not a subtle weapon by any means. And so when looking at it, it's probably about, the blade itself is about 2.5 inches, and it's actually more about, as opposed to a shorter one, it's closer to about 14 inches long. And so it's meant to do some pretty serious damage, and it's definitely not a stealthy way to take somebody out.
Nice. I like it.
The other thing that had happened too is on the way back, Lou had revealed that he had actually been working as a scout and had been gone from the area here for about 5 years and had been serving in an army further off for one of the main cities.
Yeah, and so this gives the group an idea that that Uhaxi has roguish-like abilities and skills that he's acquired throughout his living here on Faerun and in near Tribor and such, and wherever his adventures had taken him before he joined your group. So you guys, so that our audience is seeing, I brought up his character sheet. So we see a 3rd level rogue, and it must have been that you chose, because at certain level, at 3rd level, you're able to choose, right, a certain route to go, and you chose scout. Right?
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
Perfect. Cool. And so, okay, so you have this +1. Now, let's go one more thing on this dagger. When you got this dagger, was it something, did you find it in such a way that the others didn't see you got it? Or was it something that everybody saw and then it just made sense that it would go to you? You can decide.
It actually happened to be on the kobold that I had dropped with the 2 arrows. And so it was the weapon that he had pulled and swung at me before I was able to get away.
All right, great. I like it. Sweet. So good job. So we know we've got a 3rd level scout with us playing in our game tonight. And that's a cool little flashback. And as we're thinking about what's going on and who our characters are, let's jump over to Moab. You see your companions are taking sustenance, something maybe that you don't have to do. Is that true? Do we know if does Moab need some type of sustenance that would be considered food?
Mechanically, game wise, no, and I'm gonna go with that. He was, he's basically a construct, effectively created by a wizard as a bodyguard.
Yeah, so let's go into the physical description. So when Moab first entered Tribor 4 days ago, and maybe in your brain, you are going back through, you're replaying some of the scenes in your mind while your companions are eating, and maybe you're politely, as you would normally, something that Moab would do would be politely let them do their thing and not interrupt them, and maybe watching, are you a sentient kind of, or not sentient, are you a sentinel like artificial construct? So are you watching as if you're guarding them?
Oh yeah. I even don't trust the stool. I push the stool aside, but I squat just a little bit so I'm at their height. But I'm just standing there with like my legs locked in a where, so I'm the same height as my companions, as if I was sitting on a stool. But I don't trust it because I weigh like 350 pounds.
Nice. Is there any sounds that are made when you move?
I think so. Somewhere between leather creaking and stone grinding, basically it's a lot of times covered up by the fact that I have a chainmail suit of chainmail covering it. So I've got gear that like slaps against my metal parts and kind of makes a grating kind of noise too. So I am definitely at disadvantage when attempting to stealth anywhere.
Yeah. So not only is it the regular sounds of armor and gear that you would hear from an adventurer or somebody moving around, but there's also sounds that happen because you're an artificial construct of some sort.
Like I said, very like cool. Wood or leather creaking and the sound of stone grinding.
Yeah. So now give us the physical appearance. When you first met Nemeth, our tiefling, what did he see when you walked in the first time? Because his eyes went really wide when you walked in. Because I'm assuming we don't see a lot of you around Faerun, correct? There's not a lot of you wandering around. So his eyes open as you came in. And what did he see when that 4 days ago when you guys entered Tribor Arms for the first time?
He's very clean. He's over 6 feet tall. And he's very wide. Probably not the biggest person you've ever seen, but definitely wider than a normal human would be. And he's got a protection rune, like, engraved in his forehead plate. And he also has a badge, a steel chain with a badge, like a warden's badge. It has become a holy symbol, but Moab Crankston isn't aware of the fact that he's a cleric. He just has these powers, but because he is of this mindset, of protection, one of the gods of protection is bestowing powers on him. Ever since his creator died, the wizard died, he's been roaming, basically roaming the land, protecting people. And he was part of an organization, a city watch or whatever, that were bodyguards to people. And so he has spent the past few years, at least, bodyguarding individuals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tell us. Your mind kind of floats back now. It moves forward from that moment of Nemeth seeing you for the first time, and that's probably a common reaction that you see from many. But now you kind of your memory moves forward a little bit, and you're in the tomb. You've been exploring it with these party members and these venturers that you've joined up with, and have chosen to try to help and protect while they go on this adventure. And in there, there was some fight that were after the kobolds, and you've explored a couple of more areas of this tomb, but you ran into maybe another fight, and your mind kind of moves to remembering that battle, and tell us a little bit about what you fought, and in that fight, what made you stand out, like the thing you did with one of your abilities or skills or spells or whatever kind of turned the tide in that battle. So tell us a little bit about what you fought, what you defeated in the tomb, and what was one of the skills that you have that helped turn that battle.
So, of course, being a tomb, at one point we walked in and the floor was littered with bones, and the bones began to rise with bronze weapons or ancient old weapons, shall we say. And as they rose, I put my aura of protection on Lafa, which is something I can only do once a day. And when the first skeleton went to hit her, a radiant blowback, it just exploded the skeleton into dust away from her. So she was protected. And in the same battle, at one point, standing next to Delmach, one of the spears was coming towards him, and my hand just shot out and snatched, just grabbed the spear and just, flung it away like mechanically, like it just went snap. And I grabbed the spear like utterly stupid quick, like I shouldn't be able to do that being a big robot kind of thing. And I just flung the spear aside, and then my companions did their thing, started blasting away at the skeletons, and then once our line formed up kind of thing, I held out my hand and just willed the skeletons away. Like, do not hurt my friends, except it would sound more like, do not hurt my friends. And the skeletons fled from us, which I imagine Lou then took the chance to, destroy them from behind with quick swipes and stabs.
Nice. And in that room, now interesting, your memory reminds you, and maybe you even look down, and there is a circlet that is around your wrist, and it has some runes on it that were very similar and gave you this very nostalgic feeling when you looked at them and you gazed upon them, of runes that you had seen from your maker. You had seen them in his workshop, or you had seen them somewhere, and so this bracelet was drawn to you, and it was on one of these skeletons that you guys destroyed, and it ends up just being a +1 to AC mechanically wise, but you're wearing it now, and you're marveling at, wondering what the runes say, because you've seen runes like this before, and you kind of marvel a little bit at this band that is now on your arm, and you can say what it looks like as far as what it's made out of, and what it physically looks like. You can embellish a little bit there as you look
I think
at it. So what do you see?
It's kind of a 2-inch wide band with scroll work top and bottom, and then the runes are set around it, and it's opened at the back, so it's literally like something you could you could squeeze it on. If your arms were small enough, you could put it on your arm or whatever. It just happens to fit across his wrist.
Yeah. And actually, to make it even more fun, it sits exactly in a notch that is on your arm as if it was always had meant to be there anyways. Like it's the same exact width as a notch that you have on that arm.
Nice.
So,
Cool. And did I say it's silver?
there you go. No. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So you have a bracelet of basically of AC +1. So it's just a magical bracelet. And that'll increase your AC by 1. That'd be nice and fun. And then you continue to watch the Tribor Arms here, and it seems like it's the normal crowd. You see a few more people come in. It looks like they're here for lunch. It looks like a couple are waving over to some of the farmers. There's a couple more caravan guards come in and wave to a group that was sitting at a table of caravan guards. None of it looks threatening to you as you stand watch over your companions, and they continue to take their sustenance.
Okay.
So let's move over to our final character, Mr. Delmock. Tell us a little bit when you first entered Tribor 4 days ago and you introduced yourself to our tiefling proprietor, Nemeth. What did he see when you did that? Give us a physical description of Delmock.
Delmock is a little bit above average height. He's about 6'2". Probably weighs like 240 pounds. He's fairly muscular. The first thing anyone notices when they look at him is that he's bald. He keeps his head shaved, and he has just this hideous scar going from his right temple up to the center of his forehead. And it's an old fight wound that healed badly, and so the bone in his skull is kind of misshapen, and it still looks kind of gruesome, actually. Other than that, he doesn't have a lot of armor. His normal fighting attire is he has spalders on each of his shoulders, and he wears a bever covering his neck and his mouth. And rather than being plate, these are brigadine. So it's metal plates on leather, and a brigadine kilt, and he's got a huge rectangular shield.
I like it.
And when he got to the bar and actually met Nemeth for the first time and removed his bever, he had another fairly nasty looking scar across his throat, and he's I'm going to attempt it, but his speech is a little hoarse whenever he talks.
Awesome. And as we kind of flashback, you're taking your drink, and maybe you're on your second drink now as you've watched once again Moab switch the mugs in front of you, and he still pretends to drink even though he is not. And you, out of your corner of your eye, you see Uhaxi also sitting and drinking, and the food has been placed in front of you, and your mind kind of wanders back as you are all quietly contemplating the last few days. And in the final fight, and the final thing you had to do at the very last room of the tomb, the deepest part of the tomb that you guys explored, tell us a little bit about that fight, and how it was much harder, because not only was whatever it was a tough, but you were down to 3 people at that point. And tell us a little bit about what you fought and what you did in that fight that kind of showcased some of your skills, to give us an idea that this is what you are. These are the things you bring to this party.
It was kind of a rough fight, but kind of before things got started, Delmock called out the kobold leader who was working for the necromancer, and challenged him to personal combat, and drew out the fight. The fight wasn't exactly one-sided. but it favored Delmock the whole way through, and he drew it out a little bit to meet his personal philosophy, which is you can see who people really are through combat. And so he took the time to kind of go through that and learn who this champion was, and ended up kind of embarrassing the kobold forces that were there, and disrupted their morale a little bit before the actual last fight could start.
Yeah, and on your back, maybe you reach around to fidget with a little bit that at the end of that battle, bloodied and everybody using all their skills. And so what we got was Delmock is our 3rd level barbarian, so our warrior for sure, whereas Moab was our unbeknownst cleric, 3rd level. And you took the protection version of cleric. Is that the
Yes.
domain you took? Yeah, so protection domain, just so everybody knows. And also Uaxi, our rogue. So we finished out, we had a group of barbarian and rogue, a sorcerer who did not make it, a sorceress who did not make it, and our cleric. I said that? Our barbarian, cleric, sorceress, rogue.
Yep.
3 of them have returned, and you're kind of have reached around to touch on your back this javelin that was in the chest that you guys had opened after you had finally defeated this necromancer that was in this tomb. And when you, inside the chest also was a scroll that you were able to use, that was an identify scroll, and you guys were able to actually use it on this javelin that was sitting in there. And you also, in this chest was a bag, and you guys can decide who would have picked up this bag. It was a bag of gold coins, and there was 1,000 gold coins in this bag. So whoever wants to be carrying that around can have that. So this has been a great triumph through tragedy, but you've come out of this, and you're when you use this scroll on this javelin, you found out that it was a Javelin of Lightning that our barbarian now holds on his back. I'm going to put it in... I'm going to edit it so you can have it as a handout. So let's put it in the player journals of all players so you guys can just see it. So this is kind of a cool weapon that when you hurl it and you speak the command word, which you figured out through this identify scroll, it turns into a bolt of lightning, forming a line 5 feet wide and extends out from your target. You haven't even used it yet at this point. This was just like something you got, so it's not even been used. You just know of it. And it does the damage and it does the mechanics of it. It turns back into a javelin after it hits its target. And then it can be used again... I think there is until the next dawn. So the javelin's properties cannot be used again until the next dawn. So it's like a 1 a day kind of thing that you can use. While it's back in its javelin form, it is considered a magic weapon, though it does not give you any additional bonuses. But it does if you were to fight something that required a magic weapon to even hit it. Then this would constitute something that you could use to hit that thing. Like, I don't know, if you fought a ghost or something, or you fought something that was had skin that, repelled normal weapons, this would still work. Okay, so it's a one time a day cool weapon, a Javelin of Lightning that our barbarian was able to acquire.
Okay.
All right, so so each of you have that. You can add those things to your character sheet. You guys should be able to see the handout now, correct? Yeah. We go down to handout, and we'll put that in the handout folder so everybody can see it. And that gives our audience a little look into these characters that we're about to play. But our thinking back and our reminiscing of the last few days is quickly interrupted by you see, actually we'll say that Moab, you see a couple of the farmers have finished their lunch. They've gotten up and they've walked to the door, they've opened the door, and they are standing very strangely at the door. It piques your interest immediately, as the way they are standing seems odd.
So my torso, begins to turn, and it looks like it's almost going to turn, 180, but it's not quite. And then my legs move with it, and then I, stalk forward. As much noise as I make when I move, when I'm standing still, it's utter silence, like creepy utter silence. And so I go to attempt to not invade their personal space, but see beyond to what they're seeing.
Yeah, and you see at the door this luminescent white fog kind of rolling into the door, and they are staring at it and looking at each other, and mentally that you guys stopped here at midday. But now when you look out this door, it's like there's a white cloud in front of it, and some of it is seeping in, and it's very, very heavy type fog, very white, very luminescent, very different looking as it kind of filters into the room. And the two farmers are looking at each other like, what is going on?
I would step away from the door, and then I start to close the door.
Yeah. And as you're about to do that, one of them, something grabs them from the mist, pulls them in, just the one guy, and the second guy who's standing right there is just shocked into not. He just watches, and the guy gets pulled out, and you see the billowing of the mist, and one of these guys disappears into the mist, and you realize right away that the visibility of this mist is maybe 10 feet-ish. You're not seeing very far out, and he just disappears almost without even a sound, and his friend is there, and he starts to stumble back, and he's trying to shut the door, but he's not making a good thing of it. You can tell he's completely panicked, and he's completely just stumbling over himself.
Okay.
Nobody else has noticed anything yet.
I'll try to interpose myself between him and said door, and I'll say something along the lines of, I guess something like, companions, a beast has attacked us.
Yeah, so
or an innocent. Something like that.
Give us our reaction from our other two characters. So you hear this, maybe you even hear the thing he says where you stand away from the door type thing, and you're maybe just turning, or would you let's figure this out. So Delmok and Lou, that's right, you want to be called Lou. I'll remember that about
works for me.
The end of the adventure, I'm sure. Delmok and Lou, would that have been enough to begin to turn to see what's going on, or would you still be consuming your food and drinking your beer at that point?
Given the events that have happened recently and the bond that we've built, I do react to it.
Okay.
But I don't. I'm still staying at my table.
Yeah. So you're beginning to turn to see, because it's obvious what he has said. It interests you to say, wait a minute, what is he saying? You're starting to turn. How about Delmok?
He does both. He reaches down for his shield with his left hand, and he finishes drinking his ale with his right.
All right, yeah. And then you begin to turn too. So you don't quite catch the guy who's pulled out as you turn, but you see a billowing of fog as you fully turn, and you see Moab move towards the door, and then he makes his second statement. So go ahead with your second statement, Moab.
Companions, an innocent has been attacked. Trying to come up with real words rather than just machine and then
talk.
And so at that, his shield is usually attached to his arm already, so I guess he springs up his mace and proceeds to head out the door, and he'll say something like patrons, stay inside, and
Cool. Okay, so
step
you
out into the
guys have
fog.
turned. You see, and you've heard Moab, and you see him begin to stride towards this fog that's on the outside of the door.
I yell for him to, Moab, stop. Don't head outside yet.
Yeah, what's Moab's reaction to hearing Lou?
Um,
And you
I
can
guess
say what you're gonna do also, Delmok.
he stammers, like like this is no, someone's in trouble. He doesn't say it. He just kind of goes uh.
But still moves is still
Sometimes.
moving forward.
And he stops at the door frame.
Okay, so you're in the door frame.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you also see that one of the farmers has stumbled back and fallen onto his butt at that point. You've seen Moab, he's now framed in the door, hesitating, waiting, possibly about to take another step. Delmok, you've heard Lou caution Moab from going outside. What does Delmok do in this final few seconds?
Well, with Moab being in the door, he is going to go over, grab the farmer by the scruff of the shirt, and drag him out of the way, and prepare to go through the doorway right behind Moab.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's take our first little break. We're at about an hour of once we started. That'll give me time to create our 3 tokens from our cool character design art. I'll put them on the board here, and we'll get those set up. So we can have everybody come back in about 5-ish minutes or so. I think I can just use the regular. Yeah, we can just use the regular break window here. So be back in 5 minutes, and we will continue our adventure. So stay tuned. All right, we're back. We're just finishing up setting up some tokens in Roll20 real quick. So I'm setting my characters up, as you can see here. We're going to give them... So the one thing they're going to have to deal with, for those of you that are watching or checking this out on YouTube later on, is that they have very limited visibility at the moment. So we're going to simulate that using some auras for them so that they can see this. There we go. And we'll put him there. Perfect. All right. We'll wait for our Moab to get back. We'll just adjust a few things here for a moment.
The thought crossed my mind as you were doing that scene a few minutes ago that Moab's lines seem to be right out of RoboCop.
Yeah. I was waiting for him to do that voice. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Sorry about that, fellas.
No problem. We're just getting a few of the tokens ready to go. I don't want to do that. There we go. Okay. So what you guys can see is you are still in the Tribor Arms. Moab, you're in the doorway. So we'll put you right in the doorway. The aura that you see around you is how far you can actually see.
Oh, cool.
So everything else, you can see vague shapes of the buildings around you, but if it's outside that 20 feet, it's basically like a swirling, slow mist effect happening as you're standing in the doorway.
Okay, so let me move in a little closer on my screen here. All right, and I take it I'm up. We're waiting for me.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
move?
You're kind of standing in the door. Behind you, Delmok has just dragged the farmer back. Lou is at the bar, but readying kind of what he's about to do. And you're standing in the doorway, and we're waiting to see where you guys go or what you attempt to do here.
Okay, so I glance back, see that Delmok has my back, and I stride forward, straining my senses to attempt to find said farmer, like listening for screams or, a thud or dragging noises or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
so how far do you go forward?
Like 10 feet, so I
Okay.
can still see the door.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I maybe not have did? Did I make the ruler right? Yeah, that's not bad. 20 feet. Yeah, the ruler's close.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say the ruler's pretty close. It's probably off a tiny bit, but we can just play around with it. Okay. Yeah, so give us a perception check then.
Right.
As you step into the swirling mist around you. Yeah, so you're hearing noises, but they seem to echo from different areas. They seem muffled in some ways, and some seem louder than they should be and then quieter than they are. And it seems that it's different areas. Sometimes it's a horse harness rattle. Sometimes it's maybe a scream that seems far off. Sometimes you hear maybe like a slamming of a door. And it's all this weird sound that seems to drift in from the mist, this fog that you see, and it's giving you a very uneasy feeling that the sound does not seem to be acting normally as far as you can tell. Okay. But you see, when you walk out, you're surrounded, you can see the edges of the buildings. Stuff that's off past that is maybe just shadow or false image of some sort. You're not quite sure, but you don't see anything in the immediate vicinity of those 10 feet that you walked out. Let's jump over real quick to Lou and Delmok. You see Moab stride in, and he's only moved 10 feet, so you can see the outline of him, but he's already losing some detail to the mist that's obscuring the sight lines, and you guys are getting this idea of it's going to be hard to keep track or see each other if you're too far away. But you're in the inn. What are you guys going to do?
I follow Mo about the door.
Okay. Yep, you can go ahead and...
I kind of throw my arms up in the air and follow after them as if looks like I can't stop them now. But when I get to the door, I will pause to make sure I know what's going to be out there.
Cool. Let me grab one thing. So yeah, you guys can move your characters to kind of the part that you want to be at. Something pretty cool. What can we do here? Well, I don't want to go too crazy, so I think I'm just going to drag out one of these guys. Oh, I'm going to go here. All right, so out of the mist stumbles into your sight lines. And let's send it to the right layer. You see the farmer kind of stumbles back in, and the first thing you notice is that half of his face, something has removed it, and part of his shoulder and his arm is missing as he stumbles forward, and he's whispering or saying in a very shocked kind of voice, in a terrified voice, "Help me," as he kind of stumbles forward and then falls over in front of you as the entrails of his body just kind of seep out onto the ground as he falls over.
Okay. I step up, medicine check to see if he's savable.
Yeah, you check as you've done this before, and you realize that he's lost so much blood that he has perished.
Okay.
And the wounds. Oh yeah, let's look at your medicine check. Let's see what you glean from that. Oh, a good medicine check. What you're looking at is something sharp has taken these pieces and portions of this of this farmer's body just clean shear. But you also notice on the edges of it, it appears that the skin and anything that was touched by this sharp object, whatever it was, also it's like the skin around it is beginning to die quickly, like quicker than you think it should.
Okay.
Become infected quicker than you think it should. And it seems like the body is tainted in some way, even though it was only probably 20 seconds last moment you saw him.
Okay.
So while you're examining the wounds, Delmok, have you moved forward, like right there where you're at?
Yes. So I've got my shield out and I've got my trident kind of alongside it.
So let's do this. This is the other cool kind of thing I was thinking about. So I want to do a roll. But I need to take a look at something first. Need to take a look at this. So let's get this ready. Oh yeah, they got a so I can just roll it. But you guys would see it, so no, I'm gonna do it this way. /GM roll. Because I think this would be cool, a way to do this. Oh, a terrible roll. Great. All right, what is your passive perception, Delmok?
8.
Oh, not great, but you still pick out of the shadows. You see an outline of something in the shadows before it feels like it's maneuvering, like it was going to try to sneak up on you, but you were wary enough to see it.
Nice.
And so let's bring him off of that. There you go. And it looks like it's maneuvering just towards the edge of your vision line when you see this creature. And we're going to go ahead and roll initiative. It did not get surprise on you because your passive perception picked it up. It did not roll very well for its sneaky approach towards you through the mist. So let's go ahead and you can select your tokens. And then you can roll initiative for tonight. Dun, dun, dun. This guy, let's set him up. He is one of these. Yeah. And,
Did I need to hit one of the radio buttons first before I did that? It seemed to work.
No, yeah, I see Nate. Yeah, that looks right. Oh, Moab a 2.
I know. Oof.
That seems right though, because you're bent over doing a medicine check, so that actually works out pretty good. Let's bring in my initiative for this thing. Oh, so this is awesome. So Delmok, what is your dex bonus, Delmok?
+1. But I have acrobatics. That difference.
It's going to be straight. So what's your actual number? What did you roll for your dex?
13.
13. Oh, it's a tiny bit quicker than you. It's going to react before you do. And then you're going to go. It's a dex 14. So that's going to break the tiebreaker. All right, so we'll put him at the top. We'll put Moab at the bottom. Lou sitting at that position. All right. So our creature moves forward. Oh yeah, he can make the move in right towards. Oh, this is where we see if what I've done is going to be horrible. This is where we find out. So it moves forward towards you, Delmok, and you see. Let us show you what materializes out of the mist. I have a handout to show you, and I can say edit and place this in the player's journal all. Yep. But I also can hit this little thing here, and this is what you see slither out of the mist.
It's under handouts.
And it is now under handouts too. If you didn't, I clicked on the button to show it, but if it didn't show it, you can see it under the handouts also. Yeah. And so it reaches out and attempts to slash with these claws that are sticking out of its hands, these mutated hands, and tries to swipe at Delmok. Here we go. So it is able to make a claw attack. It rolls a 16.
That hits.
That hits. So the first attack is 5 slashing damage.
Okay.
And then I don't know why there's a second damage there. That's not right. So we will ignore it. Let me take that off because that's not... We don't want that there. It's just that 5 slashing damage. And make a Constitution saving throw as these claws rake against your... Okay. You have a condition now at the moment. Let's mark that so that we can remember What would be a good one? Which one haven't we used yet? That would do good here. Thinking this one. There we go. You feel nauseous. And in fact, mechanics-wise, what does that mean for you? Let's put it in. You have acquired the poisoned condition.
Okay.
You're going to have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks while you remained poisoned. All right. So we'll keep that in mind. We'll keep that up so that we can see it. Okay. And then it tries to slash at you one additional time. It has the ability to make 2 of those attacks. Yeah, that looks better now. Oh, it rolls a 20 for 7 slashing damage. Oh boy. This encounter might be too tough. It shouldn't be, though. He's not at very high CR level, which is interesting. All right, and that is its turn. You do not have to make another Constitution saving throw. Once you have it, then that's it. So you feel nauseous as these claws rake across you. And in fact, maybe you remember a little bit of this happening to you before, where, or it reminds you of being struck with a poison blade. I mean, you know something about these claws has affected you physically, as it is now your turn.
Nothing like a dishonest fight.
Yes, these jerks.
And I am going to thrust with the trident.
Nice. Okay, so the trident strikes off of several of the body of it, and you realize that the skin is hardened a little bit. It does not sink in to this creature. So you still have bonus action and movement if you want, Mr. Barbarian.
I am going to hold position in between this creature and Moab, who's somewhere fairly close, directly behind me.
Okay. Any other barbarian skills you would like to?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, that brings us to Lou. You see this thing. Actually, you can see Moab, who appears to be examining something in front of him. You've not moved far enough forward to see what he's looking at. You're seeing his back, the outline of his back. You've seen Delmok move forward and is now outside of, it's just mist in front of you, but you hear him cry out, and you hear as if there's a struggle going on just ahead. What does Mr. Lou do?
It'll work even better if I actually put my push to talk.
It would. It
I use my
definitely would.
multi-attack and do 2 shots at it with my bow.
Well, you don't see anything yet. So if you take a shot...
Oh, I don't see it from where I'm at? Oh,
No,
okay.
the aura around your token is where your vision goes.
All right, then I'll move.
So you're hearing sounds
I'll
of
move
it.
towards the fight. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'll move
yeah.
towards the fight until I can
And
see
you
it.
you saw Delmok move that way, so you'll know if you wanted to go that way, you could.
And luckily, I don't have to go far before I actually can see it.
Well, it's this
Oh,
one.
no, he's not the cross. Oh, it's the other one over
It's
to the
this
other.
one here. Yeah. That's where you're hearing the sounds of battle. As you move
Gotcha.
forward, you see that Moab is examining a body of a farmer that
That's
appears
what I
to
saw.
be
I
dead
saw
on
the
the ground.
token with the red X's across it
Yeah.
and thought it looked like its tendrilled arm. So, all right. So I'll move to this position
I'm going to zoom in
and
a little.
we'll launch off.
Perfect. Yeah, so you are able to Okay, so 7 and 7.
Poor and poor. Yes.
Yeah, we're the mist is messing with your ability to aim. You're tired maybe from the track, and you're still your muscles are sore from the previous day's battles. So both arrows fly out into the mist, out into just nowhere. As you try to attempt to help Delmok here. So, okay. You still have... Now, when you get to fire a second one, talk to us a little bit about why you get to do that. Is this just because you have multi-attack, or is it because of a bonus action you've taken? Or
Because of multi-attack as a scout.
Okay, yeah, so Scout gives you the ability to multi-attack. Perfect.
Yes.
So, but does it take your bonus action to do it? Or is it just that's your action?
Didn't clarify it inside there, so it sounded like it was its action.
Okay, so as an action, you can take multi-attack.
Correct.
So you still have a bonus action and a movement if you wish. You've used some of your movement. Anything else you would like to do?
I am not. I'm actually going to stay where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Able to see the creature, but on the edge of where it's actually at.
Okay. That will bring us to Moab. You hear the sounds of fighting as you have finished examining the farmer, and now you look at this thing that has attacked your party member. What would you like to do?
As I step over the body, I hold out my badge, and which has become my holy symbol, unbeknownst to me, and I put the, what is it called? Oh, I channel divinity, the cloak of radiant armor upon Delmok, and what it does is, as an action, oops, I can't, for some reason I cannot highlight it and put it in chat. Why can't I do that? All right, so what it is it where'd it go? It disappeared somehow. There it is. Okay. Sorry. Oh, now I can grab it. Okay. Where'd it go? Sorry, guys. The character sheets are a little funky now. They've updated them, and they're harder to use in some ways. All right. Nope, and that's the wrong one.
Do you just have it as a spell, or how are you putting it on the character sheet?
It's on my character sheet. For some reason, it won't let me get to it. Anyway, as an action, I can... for some reason, it disappeared off my sheet altogether. What ends up happening is I shield him in armor, radiant armor. The next hit he takes, whoever hit him takes 2d10 plus my cleric level in radiant damage, and I can only do that once per long rest. And it's not a spell; it's a class feature.
Yeah, what you might do is just create a cantrip that has that text in it.
Okay.
And so that when you want to fire it off, you can just you treat it like it's a cantrip, even though it's not really one.
Okay.
And that way, it'll put the information in the thing. You don't have to do it right now. We can move on. But that's what I would do with it. That's what I do with my warlock stuff. Like when I do eldritch invocations and stuff, I just create them as cantrips so that I can patch them in, even though they're not really spells.
Yeah, it was all written on my character sheet, and suddenly it disappeared.
Yeah, I see the Warforged trait, I see the Protection Domain, Watcher's Eye, Channel Divinity, but I don't see the part you're talking about.
Yeah, it was there. Like I said, I clicked on it, tried to grab the text, and then it disappeared.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so he gets... so it's just when somebody tries to hit him, they're going to get damaged back, right?
Yep. And
no AC bonus or anything?
Nope, it just... Bam! It's like the Hellish Rebuke or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So...
and that is an action. Do you have a bonus action you'd like to perform or movement?
I do have movement. I moved to within 5 feet of Delmont.
Okay. And what is your passive perception?
I believe it's 12.
12. Okay. So you would
I do
see-
have as a reaction, if something tries to hit him, I can give it disadvantage as a reaction.
Oh, okay.
So the first attack against him will be at disadvantage.
Cool. All right. That brings us back around to the top of the order. And yeah, you see at the edge of your vision, it looks like another one of these things was going to try to sneak around. And you caught it trying to sneak around. And it's in the mist. And
There.
so this one, we'll start with the one that's still on our barbarian here. And a claw reaches out. Oh, I'm rolling good, guys. Good, sorry. For 4 slashing on our barbarian. And then another claw rakes out. Now, do you want to use your reaction on any one of these, Moab?
Yeah, I basically.
Oh, so
I wanted to
he
use-
got disadvantage. So I've got to roll
Right.
a second roll. So I'm going to roll a
Yes.
second roll. And if it's too low, a 12.
That
Does that-
misses.
Okay, so no damage then. So first claw, no damage to our barbarian. Second claw tries to reach out and grab you. This is a regular attack. 6. It is not able either. It scrapes off of your armor and is not able to sink true. Now, tell us a little bit about your armor, Mr. Barbarian. Tell us what you're wearing. You use a shield. You use what other stuff you have. What's your armor that you're wearing?
Mainly, it's just the shield. He's got a brigandine kilt, and then brigandine spalders and a bever, and that's the extent of his armor.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yep, you said that. Okay, cool. Well, it is able to, that in your maneuvering and your fighting ability has allowed you to avoid now this creature's claws. The second one is moving, thinking it's sneaking up on you. Yeah, it's going to think it's going to sneak up on you. It realizes that you see him, Moab, and then rushes in, but he's got to get over this little fence-like thing that's here first. So he's kind of tangled in this fence that's in his way as he's trying to get to you. And he uses his action to get up and over. Actually, he smashes through the fence.
Oh,
He uses
nice.
his action, gets into base contact with you, but he smashes through this fence as his action and his movement. That brings us back to Delmok.
Okay. Well, as this creature slashes at me twice with its claws, I'm going to try to get thrust under one of its arms
Okay.
to try to. And nope, no go.
Rolls are not with you tonight. Okay, so and actually you have disadvantage, so it's an A because of your poisoned condition at the moment, which is going to hurt. Okay, bonus action or movement for our barbarian.
Nope, I'm going to end my turn here.
Okay, Lou, this battle is not going good thus far. You've seen. You see radiant armor around Delmok. He's dodged a couple of what appear to be claws on the end of this creature that you've never seen before or even heard of before. Delmok is ineffective at trying to use his trident against him. You see another, or actually you hear the smashing of a fence to the north of you. Something is approaching, but you don't quite see it with your vision. It's in the mist. You're only seeing shadows. You were up.
Are there any torches outside of the building right now?
No, it was midday
Oh, gotcha.
when you guys
Okay.
came in, and you're not seeing torches anywhere. Yeah.
Well, at this point, I will try shooting at it again.
Okay. Fire away. Now we're talking. 15, you see an arrow sink true, so you can roll damage for that one. The 6 would miss completely, and another arrow shifts off. All you gotta do is hit the word longbow over in the chat there, and do one of those damages. Oh, that's a shame. That's not what you need.
It should be plus. Oh no, it's just 1d8 piercing. Yeah, no, it isn't what I.
Yeah. That's a shame. You needed a hit there. You graze it with one of your arrows, and another one flies into the mist. Hopefully to be found later if you survive. Bonus action or movement at this point?
Nice. At this point, I'll stay and try to help out.
Okay. Moab, you're up.
All right. By the way, if I don't know if you want to put it in the initiative order, but that radiant armor lasts, and it only once it hits, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it out because I think once it gets hit again, it's gonna nail on him. So I won't worry about it too much.
All right, and then I will. So, am I still within 5 feet of Delmok, and can I attack this thing? Okay.
Yeah. It's within 5 feet. You're within 5 feet of Delmok.
Okay. Then I will smash it with my mace.
Cool. 14 strikes true.
Nice.
6 bludgeoning damage. Did you attack the one up to
Yeah.
the north? Okay.
Yep.
So let me put in their hit points here. There we go. And now let's minus 6 bludgeoning damage as you hit it, and it makes a very eerie sound, some type like halfway between a scream and halfway between a squee sound of some sort. And you can't even tell, you don't even see an orifice where it would come from because it doesn't seem to have a mouth or anything, but it makes this noise, and it's rattling to those of you that are here.
And then I spend my reaction to give disadvantage on the one attacking Delmok.
Okay. All right, that brings us around back to the top of the round. We'll start with the one with Delmok. So this will be a disadvantage attack. So we're gonna toggle. Yay! Disadvantage.
Oh!
Are you guys seeing this?
Wow! Wow!
Oh my god! Oh my
I'm trying to
God,
protect him,
Delmok.
and there was just nothing. They came around my shield, around his shield.
Amazingly, it's only 9 slashing damage, but still, that's tough to take. So the first one, though it has disadvantage, strikes true. I am so sorry. You guys are being just wailed on here. One last claw towards Delmok. Oh my god, look at this. Look at these are just insane rolls. 7 more slashing damage. Is Delmok standing? Is he able to take this beating?
Yep.
Okay, still standing.
The radiant armor goes off.
It does. So let's go ahead and describe what that looks like, and then give us the damage to.
So Moab puts his shield up to try to protect Delmok. Delmok has his own shield up, and the tentacle claw things come around it anyway. This strike true, and as it hits him, it's like it's kind of invisible, and then the second it goes to strike him, it looks like armor, like really heavy plate armor for just a second, and then it bursts out into the creature for 10
Nice. It's good hit.
average damage.
It's not bad. It is wounded. It is bleeding now. It lets out that same kind of halfway between scream and halfway between a squee sound from some orifice that you don't see or recognize. The one to the north tries to take advantage of you helping your buddy Delmar here and swings at you with his claw. Normal. Rolls a 14, not able to get through your armor, I believe.
Oh, all armor, yeah.
And then a 21.
Oh, just enough.
Oh, no. Okay, so you're going to take 6 slashing damage.
Okay.
And you need to make a Constitution saving throw. Ah, you nail it. You feel no effect from the claws themselves.
And is it the only visible one right now is the one attacking him?
For you, that is
Oh,
correct.
gotcha. Okay.
They see the two. You
Okay.
can hear the noise of them fighting.
Okay.
But you don't see that other one. You know it's there because you can hear it. It's just shadows. Yeah. Nice. And also, that brings us to... Okay, so their turn is done. Another good turn for them, but our adventure heroes are standing firm. Delmok, you were up.
Well, he's gotten nailed that last turn. This turn. I think the first thing he does is he spits some blood out over the top of his shield. And he tries to hit the other guy in the eye. And then he's going to try one more time with his trident.
Okay.
Nope.
Let me grab something here a second. It's not
The
really...
otherworldly nature of these creatures must be what's throwing you off, Gladiator.
It's something. Out of 2 attacks, I've had 2 1s.
Yeah, that is not going to... I think... I just want another token of some sort, but none of these look like what I want. So I'll just do this. About your size. All right. So we also see during Delmok's turn, one of the bar patrons comes out and is kind of like walking, doesn't realize anything is going on, and is you can see him, Lou, that he's just come out of the bar and he's like looking around the mist and he sees you and he's like, what is happening? It's noon. How could there be a mist here? He says as he walks out of the tavern. Let me go to see what you... Oh, you rolled a 5. That's terrible. So that brings us... So you've got bonus action and movement. Still nothing?
Nope.
Okay. That brings us to Lou. You see quite a few wounds on Delmok. He seems to be moving slower and sluggish, almost as if he's drunk. He's having a harder time than what you've seen him fight before. You've seen him really tear into things before. So something's affecting him. And you know he didn't drink too much in the tavern. So something's going on with him. But it is your turn.
So now that I'm reading through these a little bit more, because the one is distracted, I'm going to attempt to use sneak attack, which means I can use a foe's distraction, and if I hit, can deal an extra die 6 damage to that one creature. So let's hope we hit.
Yeah. Sneak attack. Let's see here. Because you have to... There's a thing about it also. Rogue sneak attack, right? That's what you're talking about?
You know how to strike subtly and exploit a foe's distraction here.
Yeah, if you have an ally within 5 feet.
Well, it says to damage one creature you hit with an attack if you had advantage on the attack roll. The attack must use a finesse or ranged weapon. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it.
Yep.
And that enemy isn't incapacitated. So you are correct.
Okay.
So sneak attack damage will work on one. You don't get it on all attacks, but you get it on one of the attacks. I believe it's always the first.
Yep, that would be fair.
Okay, Cool. We don't get too many rogues too often, so we go through the rules to see it. So 11 skitters out into... No, 11 bounces off the toughened hide of this thing. So you hit it, but it shatters off, and you can tell that it has some hardened skin. But the 17 sinks true. So you will get the longbow damage and the sneak attack damage for the second arrow. Okay, so 4 for the bow, and then you can roll sneak attack damage also, which I think is 1d6 plus something, or just 1d6?
1d6.
Oh man, nailed it. Gets 10 total. That arrow sinks in and gives it another grievous wound. It is now... it recoils from that arrow as it sinks in and turns and looks at you with this glaring eyeball, this gigantic eye. You've never seen an eyeball so big on a creature.
Good.
As it turns to look at you. So you still have bonus action and movement.
So at this point, since I can't see it moving further away, I'm going to stay where I am.
Let's do that. Okay. Moab, your turn. You see an arrow sink into this creature as it makes a noise and looks at towards Lou, who has just shot it. You're noticing that Delmok is not acting right. He's having trouble fighting this thing. Something's affecting him. He looks grievously wounded. He's got several slash marks all over him. Blood is draining out. It is your turn.
I twist suddenly one hand out and touch Delmok on the shoulder, and from each of my fingertips, like a golden like vapor looks like, goes into his skin, and I'm going to use Cure Wounds.
Nice.
At second level. One of my second level spell slots.
All right, so he gets the 11 then,
11.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So 11 hit points flows back into the body of Delmok. Bonus action or movement, Mr. Moab?
None of those, but I will continue to use my reaction to give the first attack disadvantage against Delmok.
All right, so what you see is the first creature turns and heads back into the mist. Delmok, you have the ability to make a attack of opportunity if you wish.
And I will.
Okay. Trident strikes true as this thing turns its back on you to get away. All right, 5 piercing damage. It lets out more noise and it moves even quicker as it is now even further wounded. Second horror stays near our Moab, our construct, and swings with his claw at a normal attack. Now, can you use your reaction on yourself, or is it probably only others, I would imagine, right?
Only others within 5 feet of me.
Okay, so a 5 is a clear miss. You don't even... I mean, it's like a sidestep, and it doesn't even come close to you. And then a 21.
Slap fight. Oh, just over. Gosh,
So
dang it.
4
All right.
slashing on your mechanical body, and you must make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw.
Okay, come on now.
Come on, big roll. Good roll.
Not enough.
No, DC. Okay, so you now have something is affecting your inner workings. Can your race be poisoned?
I'm actually I'm immune to disease.
Okay, it does not affect you.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Nicely done. There, I bet you didn't think that was going to happen.
No, generally that's what. Yeah, that's a nice ribbon effect, but woo.
Yeah. All right, Delmok, you were up.
Okay. I'm going to move here
Okay.
alongside Moab, and I'm going to stab. Well, I'm gonna move up as far on the flank as I can, and try to get a flanking attack on this guy.
Okay.
Again with the trident.
Hey, look at that. Even with disadvantage, you get 19, which is good. So 7 piercing damage into this creature. Nicely done. Oh, new wound. His blossoms on its back right side. Its back right side. All right, that'll bring us over to Lou. What you've seen is Delmar has disappeared into the mist once again. You can still see the back of Moab, who apparently, just from the sounds of things, is fighting something. You have a villager standing next to you, but you no longer see Delmok or the creature that you had sunk arrows into.
Okay, I'm gonna head off towards that one.
Okay.
Oh, I was trying to remember how to do a line to figure out the distance.
It's the one that looks like a comb, but it's actually a ruler over on the left side.
Now
Yeah,
I see that one between the two of them.
Yeah, you do see them fighting that one now.
And
the other one seems to have moved into the mist far enough that you do not see it any longer.
Okay. I'll take a shot at this one too then.
Okay. Oh, crit.
Now, can I use the sneak attack twice each turn?
Yes, it's every turn
Okay.
on one of your attacks. Yeah.
Okay.
So you get your crit hit, plus you get add the die for your sneak attack, which is nice.
So it should be 9-15.
Nicely done. Let me go back to the right thing here. Another arrow sinks in. 15 points. Oh. Yeah, it pins into one of the arms, and one of the arms goes nearly limp. From this arrow shot, blood is pouring out of some artery you've nicked in the arm, and it's like this greenish, gooish color of blood, nasty looking. So as you and the other arrow flies off into the mist once again. So your second arrow misses; it does not sink true. All right. Any bonus actions or movement left?
I'm gonna hold there.
All right, Moab, you're up.
All right. It's mace time.
Mace to the face works every time. 5 bludgeoning damage. You crush it, and like several of the spines and bones on its other arm snap off as your mace crashes into it. It tries to block your mace, but you're just breaking bone and sinew. It's grievously wounded. The arm looks at a weird angle. I see. When I hid that one, it took him off the torn order, but he's still there. Still a 13. All right. Any other bonus actions or movement?
Nope. I try not to disrupt Delmok's flanking by getting within 5 feet of him. Though in my, wisdom-soaked brain, I'm thinking you shouldn't stand more than 5 feet away from me.
Yeah. So
Does not compute.
creature doesn't like you at all anymore. You see the eye stalk shift. It goes towards the human that's standing outside of the inn, and it moves to go after him. Delmok and Moab would have an attack of opportunity if they would like to take it.
Yep.
Excellent.
Trident
that misses.
strikes true. Yeah,
Oh,
disadvantage.
I meant disadvantage.
Yeah. And Moab, you miss also as it goes past. And it lays into this guy, and he's dead. You see the claws burst into the chest, and it just sinks into this guy, and he just annihilates him, and he is down. Delmok, you're up. It looks like it begins to feed on him using the hands. They have like a sucking motion on him, as if it's using its hands to feed on this corpse now on the ground of this townsfolk that just came out of the inn, or the tavern.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, and it's a blood curdling scream from the townfolk as his chest is ripped open. It's out of every horror movie you could possibly think of.
Nice.
But Delmok is up.
He yells, "Come back and fight, you cowardly poisonous bastard!"
It does not seem to react. It seems to
Nope.
be focused on this
And
body.
I'm going to, Domek kind of drops his trident for a minute, reaches behind his shield, and he throws a net out as he kind of walks up here and gets the guy back in range.
Let's see what a net does. We haven't used one of them in one of our games. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, there we go. Net. Special, larger. Okay, so the special or smaller creature, which this would be considered, although why would it not say medium? That's weird. Oh, okay, so a net has no effect on formless or huge or large. This thing is not that. Creature can use its action to make a DC 10, but that would be on its turn to try to free itself. So I think for you to do it, you have to hit him with it. So you still have to roll, right? Yep. All right. So you whirl this net around your head. Yeah, it sinks onto him and just envelops this creature. And he's tangled in this, and you see him slithering around and trying to, shake it loose, but it's having a hard time. Cool. There's now a net around him. Nicely done. And look at this. We got a net symbol. All right. Anything else, Delmok? You have movement or bonus action?
Nope. He is going to get ready to pick up his trident again and advance next turn.
Okay. Lou, you're up. So creature you've seen him move, so you know he's headed towards the inn, even though he's out of your sight vision at the moment, and you're seeing maybe just shadows in the swirling mist, even if you can't quite tell exactly where he's at the moment. You know he went that direction. And you might be muted. Oh, headset issue. I gotcha. Yep. So, yeah, you can go ahead and move and take your shots. And I think he's restrained now, right? So let's look up this condition. Oh, I already had conditions up. So if we go here, restrained means creature speed is 0. Can't benefit from any bonus. Attack rolls against it have advantage. So you have advantage on your roll. It will have disadvantage. Nice. That is a very cool item. Everybody should have a net. Jesus.
I've been playing Battle Brothers, and let me tell you, the net is indeed worth every gold coin.
All right. So you get advantage on your arrow shots, Lou. So the 5 and the 8, so you're going to get the 8 from that one. That is not going to hit, but the 18 will strike true. There is nobody within 5 feet, so... I'm going to give you sneak attack anyways because he's restrained. I'm going to give you that because of the way he's being... The net itself is acting as a distraction to him. So I'm going to give you your damage on that. So give us the longbow damage and then give us the sneak attack damage. 8 is enough. 8, you killed it with the 8. Go ahead and, if you wish, you can type it in how you kill this thing, or if you want me to, just go ahead and tell me to do it. As the arrow sinks in and this thing keels over. Ardrith, we'll give Ardrith a moment to type. He's having a headset problem for those of you that are watching at home, which is okay. We get that. Straight through the one eye that it has. Nice. It's trying to turn around towards Delmok, who threw this net on it. It's trying to pull this net free, and the arrow sinks into the giant eyeball, which really, in your mind, maybe just looks like a target practice bullseye. And then it just flops over, twitching, and then settles. And then all of you realize quickly again, you're hearing eerie sounds. Sometimes they seem far away. Sometimes they seem close. But you hear the screams of town folk. You think you hear footsteps, and then you don't see anything. You think you hear slamming of doors. You think you hear breaking of wood or the horse harnesses. You think you hear the scream of a horse in pain and in dire. But it's all coming from weird angles and never quite able to kind of tell where it's coming from. So we're out of turn order, so we can remove all those. What does the group want to do?
I'm going to retrieve my net first.
Yeah, okay. So you move forward and you start to extract your net from this creature. You also notice at that point, Delmok, that the wounds you've received already seem to be festering. They have a sickly color to them, and they don't feel right. They have a burning sensation to them, and you still feel a little bit unsettled. And you can go ahead and move towards to get your net. Rest of the group, what would you like to do? I'm going to reboot my PC. Yep, that's cool. Mr. Moab?
Retrieve the bodies and return to the inn.
Okay. So you drag these bodies back to the inn. You see people are clustered around the doorframe, and as they see you coming back, and they have these mangled bodies of people they know, they kind of recoil in fear, and a murmur and loud voices start to the panic is setting in the room as you drag these people in. We'll say Lou follows you in. What about Delmok at this point?
I will drag the carcass in, this hideous thing, whatever it is.
All right. Yeah. So you bring it in. We'll take the net off it now. You've got your net back.
I'll ask if Moab has anything that works on poisons.
Hold on. I think I did that wrong. Hey, when you're setting up your health bar, sorry guys to break this. Do you put your max in the first box or the second box?
Second.
Second box. All right.
Well, both. The bar needs both numbers. It needs the max and what you're currently at to make the bar.
Okay.
And then I need to, if you're going to use bar number 1, I need to set it so people can see it.
See, it's the green one. Did I do it wrong again? Okay, my current hit points is 1929. How do I type that in there?
19 and then 29.
I just did that.
Switch it
I didn't
around.
like that. Not like that. All right, try it again. There we go. All right. Sorry about that little mechanical silliness. Moab says, currently I can do nothing for poison.
Yeah, been through worse.
That's all he says.
Yeah, so in the inn, is there a... I wonder if there's a kit. Healer's kit, herbalism kit, poisoner's kit. Let's take a look at this a second. Okay, so that's just for stabilizing. What can this do? Yeah. So one of the rangers in here that's also has the look of a wilderness guide. Hearing you say this to Moab, comes up to you, and she pulls out kind of like a rolled leather bag, and in the bag it opens up, and she has different vials and different plant materials that seem to be in this kit that she has rolled up, and she mixes several of them together, and she puts together an antitoxin, which will go ahead and we'll make a roll to see if she's able to. All they need to do is yeah, she tries this antitoxin because you say you're poisoned, and she hands this like what appeared to be, she kind of ground up a certain plant. She put it in some liquid of some type and hands it to you to say this should help if you're poisoned, and hands it to you, Delmock.
Okay. Thank you. And I will take a smell first, and then I'll drink the whole thing.
Yeah, smells horrible for sure. And then as you drink the whole thing, you're not feeling any different.
It doesn't seem to have worked.
Yeah, and so you probably need somebody to make a medicine check on you to see if there's anything they can come up with of what's happened here.
I go ahead and do that.
Okay. Yeah, you think, and you look at the wounds on yourself, Moab, and you see that although he exhibits symptoms of being poisoned, you were not affected, and you know that you're not affected by disease, and you think that what he has is a disease and would require something to cure a disease. This whatever this disease is not necessarily like curing a poison, or it's not a venom that has done this to him. It's a disease that he's gotten from this creature.
I hope it doesn't turn him into one of them.
God, I hope it does. He begins to form scales. One eye gets bigger and bigger.
Yep. The other one shrinks up and closes. Nurgle.
Yeah, and then There's more people in the inn, but everybody looks amongst themselves, and it does not appear that anybody has the abilities to cure disease. Here, they mention Nemeth, the bartender. Where's my thing? He's like, I mean, if we could get to maybe Hayuth would have something over at the Boar's Rest, or they might have something that would work at the what is the name of that? Not the Wainwright's Wagon. Is that the name of it? That was the adventure store, I think. See if there's anybody they would know that might be able to help you with that. But they're trying to figure out who you could go see. Maybe Othavir might have something. He's at the Tribor Travelers, a merchant. Or the herbalist, the old herbalist. Yeah, where's she at? She is over here. The Apothecary. Remember her? T23. Where's that one? I got to scroll through to find the right person here. Or Tarmac. He says, yeah, Tarmac might also be able to help. She's an apothecary for the town and usually helps with things of this nature. But it doesn't seem like anybody has an immediate cure for you, Delmock.
Moab will say something along the lines of, upon tomorrow, I can cure you.
Shall we try for the apothecary first?
I think we should try the apothecary.
And then Moab will say to the tiefling behind the bar, these vessels are diseased. You should burn them. We can burn them, I suddenly say, realizing that I'm immune and I don't want them touching the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So I will drag them to, I guess, back out to where there is no grass there in the walkway.
Mm-hmm.
And I will attempt to start them on fire.
Okay, so like right out here, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll just place them all on top of each other.
Yeah, with like sacred flame cantrip.
Yeah, and Nemeth gives you. He's like, hold on a second. He gets behind the bar and he brings out some clear liquid that's some type of made up moonshine, but he knows it's pretty flammable. And he's like, here, use this. This will help. And one or two of the other farmers are shocked, but they're like, they're realizing that the three of you are, and maybe a couple of the other people are in charge in here, so they're not trying to stop you from burning their friends or their town mates at this point. They maybe looked a little taken aback by this rash action at this point, but they're not interfering. Yep.
I was hoping for the insensitivity reaction, so yeah, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so you guys are outside.
But you wouldn't have noticed anyways.
No, probably not.
And you're hearing all kinds of noises once again as you dousing these bodies, and you're using sacred flame to light them on fire. And then through the soles of your feet, and you kind of see a swirling in the mist, and through the soles of your feet you feel these heavy thud steps.
That's not good.
And it's like it almost like knocks you over. It doesn't quite. They're like at first you might even think like an earthquake or some type of large rumbling, but it's the cadence of it just immediately moves your head, your minds to something large, something big, and it's footsteps somewhere out in the mist, and it's rattling the windows in the building, and you can feel it through the whole core of your body.
Do we know what direction it's coming from?
No, it's just this vibration that's coming from the ground, and it's getting more intense. As you begin to burn the bodies.
I'm going to move out here by the road.
Okay. Yep. You're still just seeing mostly mist, not really seeing anything. And you hear this clarion-like call. It's almost like a trumpety type call. It seems to be coming from above you. And it makes this horrifying noise that must be hundreds of decibels. It's so loud. It's one of the loudest things you've ever experienced. It seems to be up above you somehow, and the thudding gets more I want to say more impactful, more violent as it it's just every step is, all harder, crashing into the ground and a shaking of the ground.
And where was the apothecary relative to us?
You're actually not sure. It was not a place you visited the first time you came through.
Which
You know
stumbling
that there
around in
was
the
a
mist won't
crossroads.
end well.
Yeah, you knew that it was in the crossroads. You don't remember seeing it on this road, so it must be somewhere here in town. But somebody would have to mention that to you, or show you, or draw a map or something.
Yeah, if we didn't know where it was, we would have asked before we walked out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you would have asked, they would have said it's in the. Let me go out. Where's it showing north on this map? Does it show north? Yeah, it shows north. So it is. They tell you it is on the northeast side of town.
Okay. Start heading northeast.
All right. Yeah, so you're walking through quite a bit of the mist. And you through the mist, again, weird sounds are happening all around. You're not seeing anything. You're seeing vague shadows of the buildings you're passing. You're not seeing any people at this point. The violence of the ground shaking is getting more as each step happens, but you still don't see anything at this point. All right. You hear to the north of you. You don't see it quite yet, but you hear to the north of you a tremendous crashing sound coming from this area of brick and wood splintering, being kind of destroyed as you continue to move north on the long road.
I'm thinking we might want to stay away from that. Is what I say to the others. What if we head to the east now and then go north?
Okay. Do we pass through here?
Okay. Yeah, and as you guys get to that spot, you see
a giant boulder.
You see a giant leg that must be 15 to 20 feet wide crash into this building, and as you look up the leg, it rises so high up into the mist you can't even see what it's attached to as it crashes into this building, stepping on it.
How am I supposed to fight that?
We're not. We're supposed to flee that.
And you hear that clarion call again. And you see the foot pick up, and it looks like it's kind of going this way.
I say we let it keep going where it's going.
Not by choice, but I don't think I can put a dent in that.
So you guys go ahead and roll an advantaged stealth roll at this point to make sure this thing bypasses you and does not stop. So good from Lou.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh,
The poisoned
Mr.
one.
Delmock.
He gets stuck in its toenail.
Yes, you have made some type of ruckus in such a way that the foot that was raising up off of this building stops midair and then crashes back down and sets back down in this area. And whatever it is, it's above you, and you see this vast form coming out on top of you. It looks like it's going to try to step on you. But to do that, I need a creature that I can do this with. So let me go to this real quick, because I know just the thing that'll be great for this. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's kind of cool. So this foot attempts to, you see it coming from above you. You can make a athletics check. So an athletics skill check or acrobatics to try to dodge out of the way. You're going to need a 10 or higher for this thing not to step on you.
all of us?
No, just him. It seems to be coming out of the mist above Delmock.
Okay. I'm going to try it. Athletics.
Okay.
Yep.
So it smashes into the ground next to you as you dive out of the way. You hear the clarion call again. But I'll let you guys do something at this point before anything else can happen.
I'm going to try to get as far away from the foot as I can by heading off to the north.
Yeah, I'll
Yep.
say I'll draw a shape of it. Let's just do maybe a green shape, and we'll do a hold Alt. I think would be perfect. So we'll say it's like, wait, that was not it. Draw shape. Nope. Why is it doing that? Oh, Roll20, you're so funny sometimes. Draw shape. There we go. Green. That's better. So it's probably right about there is where it crashes down. But Delmock has dove out of the way of it. Now you guys can do your thing.
And I suggest something like, as they're saying, we got to go, we got to duck, dodge, dive this thing. Moab will say something like, how will we protect these people if we let this thing rampage?
We can't protect them if we're squished.
I don't say anything.
Yeah, so you guys can have a regular turn here of what you want to do. So you can move, you can use any of your actions that you want to do. You can dash, you can hide, whatever.
I use mine to dash up to there.
Okay. Yeah, you notice now that you're up at that building, which you know has been the center tower, it also has been wrecked.
This town had better have really, really good insurance. It's like a second major catastrophic event.
go.
Plus all the alternate universe timelines that.
Well, that was the thing that I haven't
Yeah.
haven't quite said yet. Is when is this in the timeline, and is this even in the same world as your other guys? But
There you go.
I have not.
I keep thinking of the cartoon movie Hercules when they're destroying the town at the end, and the guy's like, "I'm moving to Sparta. This is it."
All right, so you hear the stomping continue to your south, but you no longer see anything at this point. It's definitely to the south of you. And the building maybe down here is just getting more wrecked as it stomps a couple of times on this building. You guys can't quite see any of that. You're just hearing the noises of it.
I'll keep looping around the building then and heading off towards the northeast.
Okay. Yeah, you're pretty much now in pretty much unfamiliar area. This is not a place you've been. You're seeing buildings you've never been to. You're not seeing people at this point. Every now and then you think you catch the glimpse of something, but then like the mist swirls again and shifts, and it's just not quite, doesn't coalesce into anything as you kind of get up to this fencing area. And you, so you guys can do what you want from that spot as I think about what I'm going to do to you next.
I keep walking along the road here, and I'm looking for anything that says Apothecary.
Yeah, you're not seeing stuff. You're seeing again the shadows of the buildings. That's about it as you go.
There's no hanging signs outside any of them to let us know what they are.
Not that you've seen so far.
Okay.
Yep, not in your vision range at this point. Yeah, so you're kind of jogging through the streets, and they're empty. Weird noises. And then you hear more screaming coming from the north. Maybe, let's see what direction. You're hearing it from this direction. Something terrible is happening to somebody.
I look back at Moab, and I'm going to make the assumption he's going to want to head that way. So
Yep.
I will ready my shield and try to.
Okay. Yep, so you move up that road a little bit. You're not seeing anything. The noise cuts out after it's like a scream, and then it stops, cuts out. It was definitely from this direction, as far as you could tell. You're not seeing anything quite yet. Yeah, you're passing these homes here, and you're noticing that the doors are shut, the window slats are on. You're not seeing anything or hearing anything. You're not finding any people. Still not seeing anything quite yet. Not hearing anything else. All right. Let's use this here a second. So you see some fencing. You think there's possibly a building up ahead. The way the mist is looking, you're starting to get a little bit used to it. How the mist kind of plays with shadows and such, but you don't see anything else. Yeah, and then right about there, yeah, you see a corpse of some sort laying on the ground, chest ripped open. And it's appears to be a townsfolk of some sort, mangled and chest cavity torn apart.
So probably, can I make an insight check to see if this is the scream we were just hearing? I mean, does it look like that kind of fresh or something?
Yeah, you can do, I would say, a medicine check. You can have advantage on it.
Okay.
Medicine check. Yeah, you're looking at the wounds. They're fresh. It appears that they've just happened. The blood is pouring out as there's just a hole in the chest of this thing. You even see maybe some of the bloody tracks that lead off in maybe like this direction. This person's clearly dead, and it's clearly happened within just the last minute.
I continue to follow Delmark.
Okay.
I'll follow the tracks.
Yeah, they kind of stop as they get right about, maybe 15, 20 feet away. And then you don't see the tracks anymore. And there wasn't really a lot of it. It's more like dripping blood and whatever. But after that, they just kind of, you don't really see any tracks or where else you would go.
Okay. Just wanted to check on the wording of this spell. So.
Yep. You're hearing weird sounds here and there. It's actually gotten a lot more quieter now. You had been hearing screams. You had been hearing stuff. And actually, let's do one other thing here. Let me grab something else. Sure. That looks good enough.
Not what I expected. Okay, there we go. It's like that's a giant horse.
You see the carcass of a giant horse. Also been torn apart.
Is it a giant horse or a normal size horse?
No, normal size horse.
Okay.
This was a place that when you came through town, the caravans would park their carts and they would have their horses picketed typically. And then a lot of the caravan people would kind of camp in this central area, even though you don't quite see any of that at the moment. But you see a dead horse here, and it's, you've heard some noises of a horse being injured. It could be this one. It could be any other horses. There's lots of horses around town.
So definitely going to check what this building is as we come by. Even if we have to kind of walk up the driveway and just see if it's like a house or or if this is a business or maybe our apothecary or whatever.
Yeah. So you walk up the driveway, and in reality, where you guys thought you were, you actually walk up the driveway of this place. The mist has turned you around enough that you're actually at this building. And this looks like a tool shed shack. It appears like in the windows that you can see inside of it, it has lots of tack and stuff for horses. Let me go back to my thing so I can describe a little bit more of it. It is up here. I'll give you a little more of it. And you realize, too, that the mist is messing with your sense of direction. Yeah, so you see spare parts for caravan wagons and such also in this room. It looks like it's a storage room for stuff that has to do with horses and caravans, just with a cursory look through the window. Nobody seems to be in there. It seems to be a storage area.
Well, I'm going to continue heading what I think is northeast and go this way.
Okay. Yeah, and now that you realize that you've gotten turned around, you're probably paying attention a little bit more, and so yeah, you're heading up. You know that you recognize this kind of courtyard area as being the cart and the coin, and this is a place that usually sells and swaps horses and draft animals, deals, and you saw it on your way through before, and you recognize it. It was the cart and the coin.
Okay.
Off to your right hand side here.
Yep.
think we're heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that is what it looks like.
Let's head back towards the main road and keep going north.
Okay. Seems to be pretty quiet at the moment. It seems like everything has gone much more quiet at this point. I want to do that. So it's just the mist. You can hear your footsteps. You can hear each other breathing, or the mechanical noises of the construct Moab. The creak of the different armors that you guys wear, the leather in your boots. It's soft and it's dampened down by the mist, but you're not really hearing much else.
Is the mist wet? Like it out of metagaming wise, is it
No.
like dry ice fog?
Yeah.
Or where it's dry? Or is it
Yeah.
like a soppy, the fog?
No, it's more like a mist. It's more like more of an obscurement of vision than it is a physical presence.
Okay.
So you're not feeling moisture. You're not feeling. You're not even feeling a temperature change.
Okay.
And actually, everybody can do one more perception check. I'll give you another piece of information if somebody can get a good one. Although you guys have not rolled well on these, so I haven't given you tons of information.
Delmark just fails.
Delmark fails. Okay.
Blame it on the disease.
Yeah, Lou realizes something interesting is that the mist moves and the wind is not affecting it. So like it's not, the mist doesn't blow in the same direction as the wind is blowing.
So the mist is doing its own thing.
Yeah. It's going against the wind at times. Sometimes it goes, in the same way. Sometimes it swirls, but you can even see it moving against the wind, and that's impossible.
Does it have a pattern to it, or is it just
No,
random?
It seems all random,
Okay.
all encompassing. So to your left, you recognize this is the road you went on before. You are now passing on your left is the Talking Troll, which was probably the lower end of the taverns in this town. You guys went to the Tribor Arms, which was a little bit better reputed tavern and place to drink and get food. This was, you heard from the rumors and just from people talking that, the Talking Troll is like for the, the dive of the place. It's definitely not as well catered to. But it seems like the doors are shut. The windows are all, somebody has closed all of the storm window
shutters,
slatting on it. Yeah. You think you hear noises in there. You think there's maybe there are people in there, but it's definitely like they've closed all the stuff up.
I'll bang on the shutter or door or something, and I will say, "Where's the apothecary?"
Yeah, and from a muted voice on the inside, they're like, "You're fool! Stop! You're gonna attract them to us. What are you doing? The apothecary's nowhere on this side of town." And then you hear the guy in there, "Stop doing it." He's trying to whisper, but still loud enough that you can hear him. "Stop doing that."
Where?
And he's just like, "You got to go across town. You're nowhere near the apothecary." He's like, "Stop banging on the door."
Cross town, which way?
I yell at the guy, "The quickest way to get us to go away is to give us good directions."
Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, you have to go east." And he's like, "Stop. Don't draw them to us."
All right. Well, I'm going to make the assumption that he's talking about southeast from where we are.
Okay.
So, guess I'll head back this way.
Yeah.
I'll
so
follow him, but I'll also say as we go, it sounds like they're familiar with what this is, or this has been here before.
Maybe the apothecary will have more than an antidote.
Okay, so you go by and you see the corpses still on the ground as you pass by. Nothing seems to be too different. You recognize the spot now that you've been here once before.
If nothing pops up, I'm gonna make a just head straight east or so for this place.
Okay, so like through the back yard kind of stuff. Yeah. So you're passing houses. They don't seem to have anything listed on them. They look like they're cottages or small, probably where people live, not necessarily commercial buildings of any sort. You guys, you do see a bigger building kind of materialize on the south side of you as you're going by. And this one did have a sign on it that was called the North Shield House. Is on the outside of the front of the door as you walk by it. Shuttered up. But you're not hearing much else anywhere else.
Shall we ask again?
Sure. I'll go up and bang on the door again.
So yeah, you knock on the door and it opens, and you see a couple of caravan guards. They have their weapons out and they have their their armor on, and they're open the door as if they're ready for something to jump at them, and then they see Delmok standing at the door, and they kind of relax a little bit. But then they see Moab, and they go back into guard.
Apothecary.
And he just kind of looks at you like, what is that behind you? Where are you from? Who are you, stranger?
Tell me where the apothecary is.
He's like, I don't know where no apothecary is. And
And you're
they're
no good to
kind
me.
of holding the door, and they've got their weapons and stuff out. You just walk away. They're just like are looking at you like they shut the door. They slam it shut again.
I don't. Moab doesn't say anything. I'll just follow Delmark. Add a little more creepiness to this story.
Yeah, you're seeing houses and farms and cottages and stuff, but you're not seeing any signs or anything on these. The North Shield House had a sign, but none of these other places do. As you continue to wander through this eerie town covered in mist. Houses, cottages, it's quiet, yeah.
If only I had brought my bagpipes.
Well, it looks like we're about to the end of this road.
Might as well finish it out. Oh, okay, or not. Which way are we going?
Yeah, so off in the distance, somewhere out in the mist, you hear a buzzing sound. Not quite sure from which direction. It's faint. It's at the edge of your hearing. You pass some more farms and cottages.
Keep close eye on my companions.
More of the same? Another
Yeah, and
barn
you
or
get,
something?
yeah, you get to another farm. Yeah, it looks like a farmhouse of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the sound goes away for a while. You kind of backtrack through the town. More of the mist kind of rolls through. You see another farm to the south of you, or your left hand side as you're going by. And you're kind of seeing some of these, like you're seeing the edges of people's farm patches and things like that as you go through. Yeah, and then that sound happens again. It's quiet. It's faint. You're not sure what direction it's coming from, but you hear a buzzing sound. And then it goes away once again. Yep. More farms, more cottages. Not quite seeing too much. Still no people, no animals. You're not even hearing any animal sounds at this point anymore.
Because they've all been devoured. Oh.
Yep, you can keep going. Yep, same thing. Nice and eerie. It's all quiet. You just see the mist roiling in front of you, regardless of which way the wind blows.
And still no apothecary.
No, none of these buildings had any signs of apothecary on them or any type of signage that you would have recognized. No signage at all. They all look like homes.
I think we're back in the area of the inn we started at almost.
Yep, so far, yep, it's quiet again. Yeah, you pass a little bit more expensive looking building. It looks like the materials used in building this were a little bit more high quality. Has a slightly different architecture to it, but you don't recognize it at the moment. It's definitely not a farm. It's not a house. It's something else.
Any noises from inside?
You can roll perception. Nothing for Lou. Oh, Moab. Moab, you hear some noises inside. You think there's probably something in there, something inside, moving stuff around. You're not quite. Well, you got 20. It sounds to you like people may be moving. Something's moving. Maybe wooden furniture on a wooden floor, or something being dragged on a wooden floor.
So I'm impressed with the amounts of double ones and double 20s we've been rolling this evening. It's been outrageous.
Yeah.
Okay, I say
You
people
feel like
are
you're
moving
at
things.
You're on the side of this place. You don't quite see the entrance
Okay.
to it yet.
Well, let's look for the door and ask one more time about the apothecary.
Yeah, I'm going to put the door down in this section here. So as you guys move around this place, this building, this is where you see the door. And there's a sign on the front of this that says the pleasing platter. Written in common. And then it has a picture of a platter of food.
This time I try to get in front of Delmock and I politely knock on the door.
Okay, so you hear some voices on the inside go, shh, shh, something's outside. And then you hear another voice, but they knocked. Should we let them in? And they're like, no, I don't know if we should. It could be anybody or anything. But
We seek
the other one's
the
like, but they
apothecary.
knocked.
And I say,
I'll
we can
that.
hear you.
And then you hear somebody in there like, oh no, they hear us. Oh my God, they've got good ears.
We seek the apothecary.
And he's like, they creak open the door because you're speaking in what language are you guys using? Common, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what they're speaking. They're speaking Common. And they creak open the door. Who's the first person they see? So is it Moab again?
It's got to be because I kind of stepped in front of Delmox.
Yeah. So they
there's
look
no pounding
out
on the door.
and they do that look of they look at your belly button and then this slow rise of their head till they see your face, and then they close the door again. And the guy's like, I have no idea what that is out there.
My friend needs medical attention. Please point us in the direction of the apothecary.
And the guy's like, just say something, get them out of here. We don't know what they are. We don't want them coming in. And so the second voice, which is a little bit different voice, says, you're not near the apothecary. You gotta go north. You're too far south. What are you doing?
We're wandering lost in the fog is what we're doing.
Yes.
But I'll say thank you. And then look at Delmock.
Yeah, you see them maybe a curtain shift as they peek out the window as they watch you disappear off into the mist again. And it was you got a look of a couple of humans that just appeared to be, townsfolk of some sort.
Well, should we head north again?
Just north.
All right, and so yeah, you guys it's all quiet on the home front. You have the building off to your right hand side that's a shadow. You can continue on if you wish.
Anything happened while we were going that far?
No, you kind of go back along farmhouses, on each side. You recognize the North Shield house once again as you get past it.
Pick up a stone and throw it at the door.
Okay. You hit the door with a stone.
And I start going boogity, boogity, boogity.
Yeah, they do not seem to open the door for you. Yeah, let's see. Who has... I don't want that. I just want character sheets. Where are they at? Lou, let's look at your character sheet a second. Well, no.
Save us, Lou.
It's funny, all of you have pretty low intelligence. It's not anything drastically
Fog
high.
just makes it worse.
Yeah. That was everybody's dump stat. This is great. You were just wandering around. You're seeing places, but there's no way to tell. I mean, it's without somebody really showing you. You are able to backtrack and you're able to continue along. You hear every now and then you hear that buzzing sound again, and then it goes away again.
Hey guys, don't leave me.
Yep, you're just passing building after building. Some of them look recognizable. Some of them you think you've passed before. You feel like you're heading back in the direction that you think is towards Tribor Arms. And now, another thing that you notice, and probably Moab would notice this, is the light tone of the mist is beginning to dim. And you think your internal sense of time is you're realizing that it's probably getting closer to dusk.
Okay.
as you guys have been wandering in the fog. Although it's hard to tell time as you're just wandering around into these areas. But you think it's getting slightly darker out.
We switch to following the scout, Lou.
Sure. Yeah, you recognize that you've made it back to the long road, the road that you came in on before. To your right, you recognize Othavir's harness shop. This is the place that makes saddles and harnesses and stuff. Farms and such are out this direction. You feel like you're heading back outside of town the way you came this morning, or at mid-afternoon. Yeah, this part of the road, you remember seeing a house up on a rise, but it wasn't a place that you had visited when you came through the town before. You weren't quite sure what it was. Yeah, as you get closer, there is it appears to be a mansion of some sort. And it has a sign above the door that shows looks like a boar that is sleeping, curled up and sleeping as a symbol.
Is this the side with the door on it?
Yeah, it seems like it would be this side here. So this function.
I'm going to go up and pound a little bit harder this time.
Okay, yeah, after at first you don't hear anything.
I'll keep pounding.
Yeah, and then eventually you feel like you hear something on the other side, and then you see a door open, and a human, of the Damarin race, opens the door and looks and is like, you notice him look at you, and he looks at the mist, and he's like, what is going on out here? And he kind of steps out onto the porch area, looking past you guys, not even really looking at you, and kind of looking at the mist.
We need to know where the apothecary is.
And he glances towards you, and he's like, well, that's on the east side of town. You're nowhere near it. And he's like, what are you do? What has happened? What is going on? It's been a day or two since I've been outside, but... And he's looking at the mist, and he's trying to, like, he tries to grab a handful of it, or he tries to feel it in some way, and he seems to be interested in it, but he's puzzled by it.
Will you take us to the apothecary?
And he kind of looks at you, and he's like, I'm no manservant. You can go on your own. I'm not here to help you be a guide within town. I don't have time for that.
Do I get the feeling that there's anybody else in the house?
No, you're not getting any indication that there's anybody else. This person is dressed in expensive clothing. This is a person who has money, and he has the attitude of somebody who's a noble. Very dismissive to you. Something you've seen from the high, the what do they call them, knobs.
So, Moab, I'm not sure he willingly wants to help us, so perhaps we need to encourage him.
And then non-threateningly, but realizing that, yes, we probably do need his help, I begin to step forward and plead with him, like, my friend is ill, and we need the help of said apothecary. And
Yeah, and
I
he
gesture
points
towards
he just
So-
kind of vaguely points this way. And he's like, we're happy to go find the apothecary if you wish. I have nothing that will help your companion here.
Your assistance is appreciated.
And then he kind of just gives you a one last look over, and he actually he would look at you quite a bit, I think, Moab. He begins to circle around you as if he's inspecting you like you are an object.
Okay.
And he's looking at you and he's peering at you, and he has the demeanor and the mannerisms and the movements of, it reminds you a little bit of your maker.
Okay. And I again do that thing where you think my head's just going to turn 180, but then my body catches up as he's turning around me, and then I realize that he's looking at me, and I stop and let him finish, and I turn back the other direction to.
Yeah, and it's what's weird too is he's not just necessarily looking like at your face or anything. He's looking at the joints. He's looking at different markings on you. He's looking at any type of imperfections, really examining you as if you're just an object of some sort.
Used to it, doesn't react.
And then, yeah, as he finishes, he makes a total 360 around you. He dismissively looks at Lou and Delmok as if you have nothing that interests him at all. He gives you kind of a final look, Moab, and then he walks back to his house as he's going in, and looks like he's going to close the door.
Right. Once again, thank you for your assistance.
Yeah, it doesn't look back. Very haughty.
I guess we proceed to go to the way he pointed.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys are out in front of Othavir's harness shop. See if there's any. Yeah, the symbol on his sign is just that of a saddle. But it all seems closed up. It seems as you cross the road, you hear the buzzing noise a little bit again, but then it's gone a few seconds later. Still can't quite tell where the direction is. Every now and then it's a little bit louder than it was, and then it's a little quieter than it was. Sometimes you almost think your ears are just fooling you. You're not sure. Yeah, you kind of pass some outbuildings. They look like farmhouses once again.
Oh, this is the edge of town. I don't think there's anywhere else we can go.
We could ask at Othavir's. Again.
Oh, yeah, a knock. So you don't hear anything immediately. Continue knocking, or yeah, okay. Yeah, no response. You're not seeing any lights in the windows. You're not hearing any noises from inside.
Okay.
You're getting the impression that it's empty at the moment.
All right. I guess go back over to this house and try knocking there.
Yeah, from inside, you hear somebody moving around, coming to the door. You hear like a bar lifting up that the bar that was across the door. And then, yeah, you see a human male open the door and look at you quizzically.
We seek the apothecary. My friend is in need. And I pointed or gesture with an open palm towards him.
Um, he says, yeah, he's kind of looking at you and he's like, well, the apothecary's down near the North Shield house, but you're kind of on the north side of town. You need to be on the east side of town. And he kind of furtively looks past you and around in the corners as if he's wary.
All right, heading south.
Your assistance is appreciated.
Yeah, and he kind of watches you go, and then you hear the door close as you leave.
Teleport.
Yeah, farmhouses. You recognize the North Shield house once again as you get closer to it.
You just go door to door along that curve, then. I guess. I mean,
yeah. So the first one's a farm. You get no response at the door as you knock on it. This first one. Let me get my thing back here. This one. No response from this one as you knock a couple of times. Let's see. This one is... Yeah, you knock on the door and a man opens the door. Human man, Aluskan ethnicity, opens the door, and like waves you in as if he wants to shut the door quickly when he sees you. But then he kind of hesitates when he sees Moab. He's got a look of surprise on his face.
We're looking for the apothecary, and I don't enter. Stay right at the door.
You don't enter, or you do?
I do not.
Oh, okay. And he's like, yeah. I'm the apothecary. You're making a lot of noise. What are you doing?
Well, at hearing that he's the guy we've been looking for a couple hours, I will add.
Okay, yeah. So you walk into, and it's you're in a front room that appears to be set up in such a way as it's like a small shop where people can come and buy various herbs and such.
I was struck by one of those creatures outside in the fog, and I haven't been feeling very well since.
And he kind of looks at you, and he's like, creatures in the fog. And he's like, there's creatures out there? I heard screaming. I heard all kinds of noises, but I didn't see anything. You're saying there's something out there? And he locks the door behind you guys if all of you have gone in.
And Moab will say, horrible razor-limbed creatures. We defeated some.
Yeah, he kind of just shakes his head. He doesn't know what to say to you. He's like, what is going on out here? What has happened?
He is ridden with a disease. We would appreciate if you could help him.
And he kind of gives you a look, and he's like, diseased. And he looks at Delmock. Is that who you indicate, I assume? And Delmock's still got wounds on him at that point. And he's looking at him. He's like, everything looks infected, and so he kind of rummages around for a poultice of some sort. But he's looking at your wounds. He's like, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, this just happened. And it's already infected this quickly. And he seems to be at a loss. You see lots of bottles also on the shelves that are labeled Sweetwater. Apparently it's something he sells here, and there's lots of them.
I try to talk medicine with him, like tell him what I've seen and, from the several medical identifications and whatnot that I noted from the from what we've seen. Though, I'm 6 intelligence, 14 wisdom, so it's more that kind of not exact information. It's more of a feeling, and
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's like, well, I mean, we can try a regular poultice, which usually would work on something that's infected, but I mean, a disease could be anything. We would have to study it to know what it even might be. And if you're saying it's some type of creature, what type of creature is it? Maybe that'll help me to know what to do.
I will do my best to describe one.
yeah, I give him
Claws for fingers, single big eye.
I give him an 11 worth of information.
It was green.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if let's put this on him. And so he mixes up a salve that kind of looks like, and something you would have seen before, used for cuts and abrasions and to make sure that, infection wouldn't normally set in. And it feels smoothing. It's got that minty smell to it, as if it's like an aloe oil kind of salve of some type. But he's like, we can put this on, and maybe this will help stop the spread of the infection. But I certainly don't think it's going to cure him of anything, even though it may make him slightly more comfortable. And then, Lou, you hear the buzzing sound again. You can tell it's probably outside of the building. It's muffled. It's obviously you're hearing it from the outside of either the window or the door. But it's like some type of buzzing sound again. You just think like a beehive or something.
I'll find a window closest to it and try to look out.
Yeah, you don't see anything out the window. You see the swirling of the mist. And then eventually the buzzing goes away once again. It lasts for maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then it's gone. Delmock has salve on all of this, the slashing marks that he was hit with. But you do not appear... You still appear to be nauseous and not feeling very well.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, he kind of he gives you kind of a shrug of, and it may not work very quickly. I mean, we almost need magic of some sort. I don't think just a regular poultice is going to heal this, and if it does, it would take days or weeks before it would actually affect you. If you're looking for something quicker than that, you're going to need divine intervention.
Perhaps we could rest here.
Is there anyone in town who could help?
Let's see, would he know? Who would he know of? Tribor there's no temples in Tribor. So it's not like he could send you to a temple. Yeah, he's like, I mean, you could travel to Red Larch, and there's several temples in Red Larch. most of the healing here is of the animal sort. Every now and then druids might pass through and help with the livestock or such. The things I help with are minor cuts and bruises and the things that, you know, a farmer or a laborer or, you know, might encounter, not battle wounds or creatures of unknown description. That just doesn't happen here. That's not the type of, you know, medical attention we can provide. Yeah, I think we will.
All right. Well, like I said, I asked if maybe we could rest here.
Yeah. He gives you a nod of yeah. And it's gotten dark outside at this point too. He's lit some candles on the inside, but looking out the window, you can tell it's gotten dark.
Well, maybe we should rest here and then head towards the other town in the morning.
Okay.
All right, yeah, and we'll this would be a good spot to roll this one to a halt for now. As you guys sleep, the buzzing happens a couple more times, screams throughout the night every now and then. Something's still definitely happening in the town, but with the limited visibility, it being dark, it's going to be really hard to know what's going on. And I think we'll kind of roll it to a stop there. And I think it was the Halloween session, and we had a couple more players. I think some more stuff probably would have happened, but we don't want to go too crazy with you guys.
Besides, this gives us a chance to, you know, run into someone else, you know, or whatever, if we want to add another individual for the next time.
Yeah. All right. So, and really, this is one of those. This isn't necessarily an adventure where you can stop the mist, right? You're not going to find some clue that says, oh, okay, well, this is just going to fix the mist. This is definitely the Stephen King version of it happens and it just doesn't go away, right? It does need a cure disease to cure that, which actually you guys have a cleric that's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I can do lesser restoration, which should get rid
that
of
would fix
disease.
It. Yeah.
You guys are so lucky that Blaze Emberheart wasn't here, because I would have axed my way onto that thing's leg and climbed up it like a Viking. You know, we gotta fight the monster.
Well, here's the thing too.
15-foot legs just never say when.
Yeah. Had you missed your diving roll, I'm pretty sure it was going to do enough damage to kill you outright.
Yeah.
It was going to be a dead character, for sure. What I expected you guys to do was more of stay indoors. I did not expect you guys to wander the town.
I actually loved it. I mean, it was frustrating, but at the same time, fantastic that we're just these three idiots who are like, of course, we're adventurers.
Yes. And I knew Spammy was playing that up a little bit, and I don't even know if Brian realized that, but like Delmock's intelligence is a 6, a 5 and a 6.
Yeah, 5 intelligence, 6 wisdom.
So following him around is not smart whatsoever. And then Moab's is a 6 minus
intelligence.
2. And then Luz is only an 11.
Wisdom. We'll see. I got 14 wisdom, and hence I know I have to keep my buddy alive, and hence though, you know, I'm sticking with these guys.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them alive and safe, because I have no concern for myself.
I can't even believe you guys rolled that low. It's just crazy to think of. On 4 dice, the highest you could get was a 6. You're keeping 3 of them, but yeah. That is insane.
And I did it twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And actually, I kind of had a little bit more that I had thought about doing, but man, the rolls made it so that I had to back off, or it was going to just turn out terrible quickly. So, and normally what I'd want to do with that session is maybe play some spooky music, maybe have a few more pictures of like the fog or the mist enveloping a village or a town for atmosphere. And that's what I would have done had we run this on Halloween, you know, threw some spooky stuff at you guys that I think would have been cool.
I
but
tweeted out a picture from the series with one of the
I saw
monster
it.
thing up above.
That's the
I was like,
thing.
"Oh."
Yeah, that was the thing that was above
Yeah.
you guys, that one.
That's awesome.
Oh, and just to show you, because I don't know exactly when we would play this one again at this point. These are interesting characters, and it might be interesting for this to pass over, blow over, and then have you guys do some other regular stuff. It might, maybe. We'll see. You've got lots of characters. But just to give you an idea of some of the other things that you would have possibly seen. Let me show you. Let me put a couple more things in the note area for you.
Creature 3.
Yeah, I wasn't going out in the mist. That was the buzzing noise.
So just a few things that I had come up with. I saw this artist and I thought, oh, this stuff would be so cool to use. A couple of these kind of things.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Here's one. So I had a few of them.
Oh, 4.
And actually, you guys are the first ones to encounter them, so you technically, I guess, would be able to name them if we had continued on. And we're like, what are these things? And eventually somebody would be able to suggest a name of some sort.
Well, I'm going to jump off, guys. It was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very
cool.
cool.
Have a good night.
See ya.
That was, I like the characters. We'll have to see. It's interesting. Now, you never raged out Barbarian. Was there a reason?
One of the other characters or one shots or something you were thinking of, I'd wanted to do a higher level barbarian character, but barbarian was basically just to give him unarmored defense,
Okay.
and beyond that, he would have gone fighter tactician, which would have been next.
Got it.
So it was there, and I did think about using it. Actually, I thought about using it more in between combat because he's wandering around in this mist and starting to get kind of pissed off that I can't find this place.
Yeah.
There was I forget what we were playing. One of the Marvel superhero game from the 80s, Phase Rip, there in the early 2000s, and I had a character that had Berserk, and they, the more min-maxy optimizing players at the table were like, we're fighting, why are you not berserking? And I'm like, I haven't even been hit yet. What are you talking about? Why would I berserk? And they're just like, role player, kind of thing. And then when it did happen, it was just utter mayhem because I was playing a small android individual who, was they were more like a living anime character than anything else. And then when they did finally, Dragon Ball Z explode, they were just dynamite.
Yeah.
So,
and I didn't get to see the Javelin of Lightning. I was waiting for that thing to come out, hit somebody.
Well, I was waiting for that too, but with your 20-foot limited vision, by the time we saw somebody, they'd be in melee range.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was something I wanted to do as far as limited vision, just to try that out. I like the idea of things just springing out on you. And so the idea that the mechanic I had was I was only going to let you use your passive perception. And then if you got close to anything that I had set up on the map, I would roll their stealth check. And so if they had a high stealth check and your passive perception didn't pick it up, they would attack, they'd get a free surprise round, and then it would go as normal through initiative. But it was really good because I rolled super low on those first two, so they didn't get the surprise round, which was really good. Even though my rolls made it tough, because you guys were rolling bad and I was rolling great.
Yeah, and then if we had a PB or someone who's, rocking 19, passive perception, it'd be like monster, monster,
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I never would have been able to get up on you. Although you kind of have danger sense too, right? As a barbarian?
Yes.
I probably should have looked that up because I got to remember what that actually does.
It's when something attacks you, as long as you can see or are aware of it, you get advantage on dexterity saving throws.
Oh, right. You're able to dodge away. Yeah, you have advantage
that's what
on
the
dexterity.
danger sense does.
Yeah.
Is
So I guess that worked out because that's why you were able to dodge out of the way of the foot. Just coming down to try to crush you. Danger sense would have helped you with that. And it did. It worked out so that you were able to dodge it. It wasn't a very hard difficulty. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream at this point. Stop our recording. If you check this out on YouTube, hopefully you enjoyed it. It's definitely meant to be a Halloween creepy session, and maybe I'll try to run it again next year with maybe different players, or I'll switch it up enough that if the same player is playing it, it's a little bit different to try it out to see if it'd be cool.
maybe do the fog of war thing.
Yeah, we could try it with the actual lighting, dynamic lighting on, or I could just switch the town too, and we could do another one that's similar but a different town.
Yeah, because when you did, well, you can shut down. We could talk about it, but the McDwaddle